1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Welcome back to the Racial Draft Podcast. I am your host, Michael Ford, and I am joined by the queen of everything, Kia Lisi herself, the mother of draftings. What other nicknames do you have for us?
I think that's about it. I mean,
We got to work on adding some more nicknames, so your intro
for
takes
sure.
like 5 minutes. But
Oh
how are you
yeah,
doing today?
doing good, doing good. Excited to hear about the news and the picks and yep, all the other good stuff.
And it is we are here on the at the end of Black History Month. We all got our superpowers back in December, and have you been taking advantage of superpowers in February?
Oh, for sure. I well, my superpower was being psychic, and I knew that I wasn't going to have a Valentine's Day date. It was
Ah,
crazy. I just knew that.
right. Yeah, I
Crazy.
mean, I'm not very psychic either, and I knew that for myself.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I told you that too.
but we are also joined by not someone who is not celebrating Black History Month, but I I would imagine is probably going to muddle through with the 11 other history months. That would be Gordy himself from the white delegation. How's it going, Gordy?
Yo, pretty good. Ready to get things back to normal. Get March started. All right. Reclaim the position on top.
I feel that. I get it. I got it.
That's what she said.
Whoa. I was actually my Valentine's Day this year is ruined because there was no dunk contest that weekend,
That
and
is right.
that is a tradition in my life to spend Valentine's Day weekend watching the slam dunk. So
I am surprised that the NBA has not rolled out heart-colored basketballs for at least the three-point contest, Like, the money ball can have all these hearts on it, and they could focus on the girlfriends and mistresses and whatever, like in the stands during All-Star weekend. I mean, maybe next year. Maybe when fans are allowed in the stadium, they'll really go all in on the idea of combining love and basketball.
I
I've
like it. I like it. Like sort of the Sean Kemp ball.
Yeah,
Make sure you're getting lucky tonight.
exactly. But this is what we do sometimes before we get into racial draft business. But if this is your first show, I apologize. However, what we try to do is change the complexion of the comic book universe one draft pick at a time. And, we do so by going through our different rounds and our different delegations and picking different characters. And you are lucky enough to be at the end of season 2 of our official racial draft. And,
Bien.
Kia, what did you think of well, first of all, just round 12 overall of the racial draft? What were your thoughts?
It was the round 12 and it was a good round. A very good round.
Yeah, what we like to do to shake things up, we did it last season and we did it again. We did an all polls round. There was a whole bunch of polls flying around, and some of them landed where they needed to land, and some, went to some unexpected places. Speaking of unexpected polls, what did you think of?
All with consent.
Of course, what did you think of the 12th round overall, Gordy?
You know, it highlighted to me how many fantastic characters there are in the world of comics, even in just the big two as we draft from, because there are so many people that and well-known characters that didn't get drafted. You
For
know,
sure.
Wow.
Black Lightning, Apocalypse. You know, people. I mean, all kind of movies and television shows based upon characters that didn't get drafted.
I
So
know.
I think it's a highlight. I think it's a great thing to realize that there is so there's so much vastness out there in the world of comics that we probably could have won another 5 or 10 rounds.
Stay tuned. In future seasons we might. But but for
Mhm.
this season, I you
Well
know I
said,
was
Gordy.
yeah. I mean, for this season, I was pretty impressed. I thought that most of the teams stepped their game up. I think maybe all of them stepped their game up from season one. And the polls came down in some interesting ways, and I'm eager to talk about it actually. But before we do dive into our racial draft poll 12th round business, let's talk about some of the news stories.
It's a
Um,
really long name for your poll, man.
Sometimes you got to put a long name on a long poll.
Whoa,
But
that's why I've called it Bob. Got it.
But yeah, there were a few news stories that we might as well get into. One of them has to do with, as you know, the CW has been exploring shows involving characters that haven't been around for very long, but they still put them into development. And one of the shows that they put into development was based around the character Naomi, who was created by, uh, sorry, who was who was created by David Walker and Brian Michael Bendis.
I know
And
those guys.
yeah, so that show was picked up, and they are prepping. They've got some casting, not a casting of the character herself, but the casting listing. And I'll go ahead and describe the casting listing that they're looking for. They're looking for someone who can play the ages of 16 to 18. The character Naomi is
Okay,
described as
that's one.
confident, charismatic, having a sense of style without really trying. She is a military brat who is the adopted daughter of two white parents. She is very popular with everyone in her high school while clearly being a cut above the rest. And it's evidenced by Naomi taking AP classes, speaking 9 languages, and being in every extracurricular club possible. She's described as a modern day Ferris Bueller with a dash of black girl magic and an unshakable sense of self.
Holy shit! I have all like 12 of those.
I
Crazy.
mean, so as you know, that show is being developed by Ava DuVernay as the producer, and I don't think they said what season that they'd be shooting for to actually have the show debut, but it does seem like it's coming into shape, so maybe it'll debut next year. Um, what were your thoughts about? Did you read the Naomi book, Gordy?
I haven't finished it yet. I'm actually just starting it.
Hmm.
But it's got a fantastic motif that I think will translate well to television with the whole, mystery. She's in a small town, and then
Hmm.
there's a mystery that she has to uncover and whatnot. And I think that it will translate really well to television.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
almost, you almost want to think that Brian Bendis had that idea when it was being written.
Yeah, Brian Bendis. I mean, one of the things that's sort of underrated about his tenure in comics is that he does have a good track record for writing stories that end up getting adapted. He of course wrote Alias, which became the first season of Jessica Jones in a lot of ways. He wrote Ultimate Spider-Man, which was a lot of the template for what the MCU is doing with Spider-Man, and of course he had his like creator-owned stuff, as well as Daredevil. I forgot about Daredevil. I mean, I think that he does have an eye for writing comic stories that are more perhaps cinematic or just generally more adaptable to another medium. And I think that's one of the reasons that DC brought him over, so that he can do things like Naomi. And I would be remiss if we didn't talk about David Walker, who's, I believe, some of his life experiences is growing up in Oregon, like Naomi, and was, I believe, also raised by two adoptive white parents. Um, went to kind of establishing the authenticity of the character. So, while technically not racial draft business, we do like to highlight stories that focus on, people of color in the comic book universes. And
That's amazing.
yeah, I mean, you should check it out when you on your tablet. You can look it up. It's not Marvel, but it's DC,
I,
and let us
I'm
know.
sure. I'm sure there's a website for that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Another news story, speaking of keeping things in the realm of DC and characters of color, the long gestating project involving the Blue Beetle finally has a director. That would be Manuel Soto. He will be the director of the story that's based around Rob.
Jamie Reyes.
Thank you, Jaime Reyes. The
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah, I know.
The
When he
difference
was
in pronunciation.
when he was in the white delegation, he was Jamie.
He's like, he's Jamie.
Season 1 drafted by the white delegation, Jamie. But you know, he's
No, he's Jamie.
yes. He's one of the, I guess I'd say, more prominent Latinx heroes, especially younger ones in the DC universe. But sadly, he's been not being used a lot in the comics world. Probably one of
I
the
wonder
reasons.
why.
Well, it a lot of the times these characters don't get the right creative staff around them to write a solid book. This might be a situation there where they also may not know where exactly to put him in terms of, in a solo book versus different teams. But hopefully now that he's got a movie coming, DC will get it going and figure out how to bring him back to prominence.
Yeah, I mean, Jaime is he's popped up in a few other media too. I mean, he was in the Young Justice
Right?
boots, and he's I don't think he was in a reboot. I think he was in the original Young Justice, and or not reboot, continuation.
Right.
But yeah, he's definitely a fun character with a lot of room to tell stories. And now with the Puerto Rican director, it's a fantastic synergy there by DC. Now we just hope that it doesn't sit as long as something like the Flash movie has sat, and
or Black Adam.
or New Gods.
Exactly. But fingers crossed they have a director, and I don't believe they have a script, but a director is important too. We are joined by, from the Latinx delegation, perfect timing, as we discuss the Blue Beetle, Carlos.
Did somebody say Puerto Rican?
Oh, Puerto Rico. Oh.
the other day, Tamati put up that he was listening to Big Pun, and he just tweeted Boricua Morena, and I responded. I was like, yes, our national anthem.
Nice. But yeah, so I'm sure you heard about the story about Blue Beetle having a director. I don't think I've seen the work. There is a screenplay. My fault. Yeah. So the writer Gareth Dunnett Alcocer, who wrote the Scarface remake, will be doing the screenplay for that. And now we have Angel Manuel Soto, who's going to do who's going to direct it.
The Scarface remake. This is
yes.
Scarface itself is a remake.
Correct. So third level Scarface.
Hello to my
remake.
little friend.
But yeah. So I mean, do you think that them, getting a creative team together means? What do you think it means for the movie overall, and what do you think it might mean for the character in the comics world?
I think that Warner Brothers and DC they're really good at announcing things and then never going back to them again.
Right.
I'll believe that it's coming out when I see the first trailer for New Gods, and then they'll be like, okay, Blue Beetle might be happening. Yeah. Okay.
So here's the thing: we got to put it on the table. Flash, New Gods, Black Adam, and Blue Beetle. Which one gets a trailer first?
Flash.
Wow.
He's the white one.
Yep. That's it.
I mean, all fair.
And you could make a trailer out of footage from other movies. So you don't have to have shot anything.
Right. Especially because, this whole Flashpoint idea is turning more and more like it's not really going to be about the Flash anyway.
Right.
So it'll be so before we know it, it'll be Snyder cut Flash.
Yeah, one of the many victims of the upskirt shots that Snyder will have in his cut of Justice League.
Oh yes. We're how many we're just a couple weeks away, right, from the
Yeah, I
official
think it's March
rollout.
18th.
19
March
days
19th.
away. Yeah. It's
19
March
days
March
away
18th.
from,
Yeah.
the monochrome, the lack of saturation. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, and I'm gonna try to be positive, about this Blue Beetle, and I'm also gonna be positive that will mean that we'll see Blue Beetle in an ongoing.
Ooh.
That would be great.
Oh yeah, I mean, if what happened last season with Wonder Woman ramping up to a Wonder Woman movie is any signifier, I think that DC will throw Blue Beetle into more books, here and there, ramping up to a movie, but only ramping up to the release of the movie, not like right now, so that you get hyped for the making of the movie. It'll be like the movie's coming out in December, so for October and November, here's some Blue Beetle stuff.
He's
Well,
going to be in Justice League Dark, and all of a sudden he'll be a member of the Teen Titans, and he'll be a member of the Outsiders.
Right.
yeah.
They'll announce a CW show.
Or I mean, at this point, I'm surprised. They had a Blue Beetle in Smallville.
Yep.
So the fact that they never had a Blue Beetle in any of these CW shows since they started the Arrowverse has always seemed odd to me.
Yeah.
Ted Kord made his way into Arrow at some point, but that was it. It was just sort of a throwaway.
Right.
No,
I don't think they've ever cast a Ted Kord though. I think they only talk about him.
Right.
So yeah, if I were
he's the Great Oz or something like that.
exactly. What were you saying, Kia? Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, I was just gonna lie and say that Blue Beetle was in Vampire Diaries on CW.
Oh, okay, got it.
Blue Beetle had that arc on Jane the Virgin, if you remember.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, don't remember that.
He's gonna be
Listen, I will not let you disparage the good damn name of Jane the Virgin. I love that damn show.
Well, stay tuned in Walker Texas Ranger for the Reyes.
Oh yeah, that reboot's coming. I forgot that reboot is coming.
Hasn't it
That's
already
exciting.
started? I think it's already started.
I am not white enough to answer that question. I will try.
Speaking of
you're
shows,
plenty white
let
enough.
Let me get some mayonnaise sandwiches and see if I can up my quotient to be able to answer that legitimately.
well, speaking of shows that have already started, did anyone catch the debut of the Superman and Lois show on the CW?
I did. Me.
Yes. Did you have
Mhm,
thoughts?
of course.
My thoughts on Superman and Lois. I am not familiar with. I knew this Superman because I've seen a couple episodes of Supergirl that the
Mhm.
Superman was in. I was not familiar with this Lois. She really doesn't do anything for me. She's kind of boring. And so that was kind of a bummer. But I dig the storyline and how it's kind of new Smallville.
Yeah,
Like
it
I'm more
feels like
interested in these
Smallville.
kids.
It seems like Smallville reunion.
Rebooted.
Like
Yeah.
it's which is weird because obviously it's not the same continuity nor the same actors, but it feels like I'm just waiting for them to bring Chloe Sullivan, back into the fray as
Good luck.
well, not the actress, like although I mean Allison Mack, if you want to write into the show, I'll read your fan mail, but
But no,
Before this goes
I
down a
dug the.
weird turn.
look, I was team Chloe over team Lana, so
I was as well. But now I'm just glad Clark got out of there.
But yeah, so obviously bonus points get scored, and bonus points might be scored going forward for this Superman and Lois. I was a fan of this actor, Tyler Hoechlin, how he played the role Superman.
That America's best. Wise move.
Okay,
Are we sponsored?
not yet, but maybe
Don't
soon.
know what happened there.
But I liked, like, I watched a lot of Supergirl, and I thought he played the role very well, and I think he's still playing the role. I think he stepped it up even from the way he portrayed it on Supergirl. And like you, I have not yet been impressed by Lois. I'm hoping that they may be holding it back, and she'll get a couple showcase episodes where she'll be able to, be the Lois that we kind of all know and love.
Well,
At this point, go ahead, Q.
Well, I think it's gonna be hard to be like Lewis Lane, like when there's been so
Did
many.
you say
Lewis
you say
Lanes
Lewis Lane like a dude?
now. Lewis Lane. No, but like it's kind of hard to play her as because like so many other people have played her before, and
Right.
some have done a very good job at it. And on a scale of 1 to 10, like how hot is she really?
I would
like,
say,
you
no,
guys did not-
honestly.
you guys didn't bring that up, so I'm thinking like she's maybe like
I mean,
a 7.
Yeah, but she's not. She doesn't have to be hot, Like
I,
she
the
just.
Superman. Yeah, yes, she does.
Well,
Yes,
as of now, I think I
Which
have
of
her
the-
at the bottom of my live action Lois rankings, and
Which of the live action Lois Lanes were actually hot besides Terry Hatcher?
Smallville Lois Lane.
Small milk. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Erica,
Oh my God,
Erica
her sparkles
Durance?
in her eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a lesbian, but her eyes sparkled, yo. Like,
yeah, she's up. She's definitely up there. Terry Hatcher is probably right
She's the
below Margot Kidder.
I
mhm.
think Terry Hatcher's the gold standard for hot Lois Lanes, but
She's the gold
isn't-
standard. Yeah, for hot Lois Lane, she's definitely gold standard. But for
that
like,
wasn't like what I was talking about necessarily with this Lois. Like if this Lois was, I don't think Margot Kidder is like traditionally like someone you would call like a bombshell, but she is a great Lois Lane. This
Yeah.
Lois was just like, she's like a wet blanket. She's just kind of always there to make everything dour, it seemed
Right.
to me. And then at the end of that episode, she shows up with like, I know the secret company that is buying all the land in Smallville because I'm an investigative reporter. But we didn't like see her investigate unless it was like when I got up to make a sandwich.
No, we really didn't see it. But like I said, I think this might be the situation where this is the first incarnation of Lois that I can remember where she's actually a parent.
Yeah.
So she has to do, like, she had to do a lot in the pilot with like mom energy. And maybe
Really, says the man. Mom energy.
I mean, she's got 2 kids, like, and the whole thing is that one of the big conflicts of the first episode is that he doesn't want to reveal his secret to his children, and she does, and she thinks that they should know.
How?
So
Wait, time out. Lewis Lane actually had Superman's babies.
Lois.
Lois. Okay, Lois. Whatever. It's all the same.
I mean, I feel like if I got an email from Lewis,
Like, how did they not bust out of the womb with like a punch or something? Like that
I mean,
would have started off
season-
really exciting.
So, I mean, if there's an answer for that, which was kind of weird that they didn't address it on the show, but they went to a place where his powers weren't active,
Right.
so that she could go through her whole pregnancy and have the children, and then he came back afterwards.
Oh, that's not exciting. Like the first one, they should have like definitely like, or maybe the last one, they should like, oh, we can't get to the place. Oh God. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
But
And, like,
that
bust
does
through.
sort of like raise the question: does that mean that they're not having sex like now because she's worried about? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just
Oh.
maybe there's condoms, there's kryptonite condoms or something.
Right.
Like,
Oh my dick.
But well, I mean, if there's a kryptonite condom, I'm gonna say that it's gonna impede an action that needs to be done for the sex to happen.
I mean,
So-
just a slight amount of kryptonite, not enough to make him sick, but just enough to make sure that
And not on the tip either. You definitely don't want that kryptonite on the tip.
yeah. So
You're getting into a Spider-Man rain area here.
that's right. We shouldn't talk about that anymore. All
Anything
right.
that references one of the worst comics ever made is not a good thing. So,
in terms
I-
of this pilot, I think that I was less interested in the Superman stuff than I was in their family dynamic. Like I didn't
Right.
when he had to fly away to do a thing, I was like, oh, like I don't care about this
Right.
nuclear reactor. I don't care.
Yeah, it wasn't super compelling. That part, like the superhero stuff, isn't yet compelling, but the family dynamic and the setting up the in Smallville and them and that little mystery is a little bit more compelling, and I'd like to see where that goes.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
yeah,
Gordy, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
yeah. I
That's
mean, I think
okay.
over.
I mean,
Go ahead, Gordy. Sorry.
oh
Yeah.
no, we're all good. Actually I will say for Lewis Lane, since now we're gonna be the gender bending podcast. Um, the actress Bitsy Tulloch, I believe is Tulloch. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it, but she's been on a bunch of the CW shows, the Arrowverse shows, and she's been interesting. And I mean, she was in The Artist, so maybe she's just getting used to being in speaking roles, and we we're learning along with her. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I think it's gonna be fun. It's nice to see one of the real big characters on the small screen too, instead of all the ignoring of Batman that we've had.
Right. But I mean, we might as well transition from the Superman on the small screen to Superman on the big screen, because the biggest story of the week, for sure, in the nerd comic book world was that Ta-Nehisi Coates has been uh, scooped up by Warner Brothers, DC Films to write a Superman movie, and the scuttlebutt is that he's going to be black. So of course, we here at the Racial Draft pay close attention to those kinds of stories. We don't yet know whether he's going to be whether it's going to be a story about a totally different Kryptonian who happens to be black, or whether it's going to be a Clark Kent story, where Clark Kent is black. Um, I guess I'll ask you guys like your like overall thoughts about the idea of a black Superman and B a black Clark Kent. I'll start with you, Carlos.
First of all, it's so weird that Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing a Superman movie. It's like, hey, remember when Cornel West made Popeye? Like, it's just a weird hit. But I hope that if it is a black Superman, that it's for a reason, that they didn't just want to make a diversify their Justice League for the like kind of cynical reasons. I hope that I would imagine Ta-Nehisi Coates has a take.
Right,
But also, like, I really love Henry Cavill as Superman,
right,
and I kind of hope that it's not like that they're not remixing Superman to that extent, because I would like to see what he could do with a good script and a competent director, and like, because there are a couple of moments in the movies he's in where I'm like, that's Superman right there. And
right.
then but Zack Snyder hates the character and doesn't understand it, so
Yeah,
we don't get to see it. So it would suck if he was a casualty of all of that mishandling. I would love to see what Ta-Nehisi Coates has to say about a world that needs Superman, though.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of in the, obviously I only asked the two-part question, but I too would prefer if Henry Cavill were coming back and Ta-Nehisi Coates was in a position to write a story about Superman that perhaps has prominent black characters in it. I mean,
Sure,
one character that I've been advocating for the longest time is John Henry Irons, aka Steel.
sure.
I think that using him as a ground level lens, street level lens to what it means to have a Superman could do a good job of squaring that circle. But given the parameters of the question, if we knew for a fact that we were doing a Black Superman story, I guess I would prefer a story that was about a Black Clark Kent than a story that was about like a secondary Superman that um, was sort of following in the footsteps of Clark Kent. Like I feel like that doesn't do as much. Um, it doesn't advance the overall cause of the Superman mythos, given what we said before about how Zack Snyder, has kind of done a little bit of damage to the character in the mainstream. I would like, as much as I'm worried about the cynicism of just kind of making it diversity as as a way of eliding the the criticisms about the previous incarnation, I think that the combination of Ta-Nehisi Coates and whoever they get to direct it, could craft a really meaningful and resonant story. And I would prefer that story have a black Clark Kent in the center than it be someone like Val Zod, or it be in an alternate universe where where it's not the Superman. It's like
Right.
alternative Superman. But what about you? Gordy?
My Superman and Kryptonians are all white, so I don't
Yes.
understand. No, I if it's well done and it's not like what you both said, it's not just done to be good headlines, to be, no one should have a problem with it. These are aliens. We talked about this last week with Supergirl. These are aliens. There's no, like, anyone who's holding on to the racial characteristics of Kryptonians really needs to evaluate their lives.
But I will say this.
I guess I'm gonna evaluate my life because Gordy, I don't want to see a black Superman. I don't want to see it.
Oh, Kia.
Don't want to see it at all.
Kia brought the heat. What?
Fuck that.
Tell us more. Tell us more, Kia.
Okay, like, I'm sorry, Superman can. I think that, well, first of all, I think that, like, low key, them making a black Superman is like throwing the black people a bone.
I mean, it could be.
I don't want no motherfucking bone.
It could be. I mean,
what I do want to see, like, if you're gonna really mix up Superman, make him Polynesian. Oh, yo, there's Polynesian stuff. Anybody who listened last week, they know those Polynesians are fine. Go on Pinterest, Google it. Like, but I'm just saying, like, there are so many other races out there. There's so many other, like, I don't know, make Superman something exciting.
So,
like,
Kia, if your boy Reggae Gene, what's his name?
Ew, he's not ready for that. Like, seriously, like, he just needs to go keep on fucking bitches in Bridgerton and, like, stay himself back. Like, no. He's not Superman.
Okay.
He'd be a killer Lex, though.
Yes, he would.
He'd be a killer Lex.
Yes,
Luthor.
he would. Yes,
right.
he would.
Well, I'm gonna also interject this point, which has always been one of the things that I've been reluctant about. Even though we're in the world of the racial draft where we race bend characters all the time, I've always felt like we have to acknowledge that if Superman really were black, that he would be received completely different by the world. There's no way around the fact that
he wouldn't be a hero, he'd be an anti-hero.
No, I mean, even if he had the same attitude that Superman has, gosh, jolly, like one of those like Boy Scout attitudes, he would still be viewed by suspicion, by, the mainstream, by the military, by kind of white people at large. But black people would love the hell out of him, black people would definitely, be down for it. Like, and they'd embrace him as like a cult figure, but it would just be a totally different dynamic. And depending on whether Lex is white or Lex is black, the way that he would play it in relationship to a black man with all that power would add layers to the story. It would just be a much different story than this kind of stories that we've gotten with Superman up to this point.
It would be kind of similar to Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, where the army just has all their tanks pointed at the black guy.
Right.
I will say this too, like, real talk. If there was a planet with living creatures near a red sun, if they were gonna have skin, it's gonna be black. Like, it's not white skin is not surviving a red sun. So.
I'm glad you said it, Carlos.
Do we know, are red suns hotter than yellow suns? Is that
I believe so. Yeah, I believe they're more intense.
Okay.
But
I'm looking for holes in this theory.
But yeah, I'm gonna we'll stay tuned. We'll see the details as they sort of slowly slip out. Like the main caveat that we have to acknowledge is that, like you said, Carlos, DC is really good at a headline, really good at an announcement. We could be here, in 2031 being like, hey, remember when they were going to do a black Superman movie?
Hey, guys, I think there's going to be a trailer for New Gods finally.
You know what? I stand corrected. Yellow stars are hotter than red stars.
Oh, Okay.
Never mind. Never mind.
So
Red stars are actually the coolest.
okay. Well,
Oh, it's
So black Superman actually makes no sense.
I'm
I
liking
was
that.
gonna say
I'm
like
liking that.
I was gonna say that
it's so
Ta-Nehisi
rare
Coates
for me to
doesn't.
be able to celebrate a win for white people. Hell yeah.
I was gonna say that Ta-Nehisi Coates doesn't seem like the guy who would lend himself to this kind of dangling for the sake of street cred. But I would say the same about Ava DuVernay, and her New Gods is still in development. So
yeah, big
so
checks. Big
yeah,
checks just to like sit around and do nothing. It's hard to say no to that.
maybe they're letting Ta-Nehisi make the case for reparations, the movie, and
Mm,
this is the holder,
right.
the retainer.
But like I said, we'll keep an eye on the story as it develops. Um, you're on notice, Black Delegation. Whenever you return to the podcast, you might have to make a play for Black Superman and get a jump on that backstory. But think that's as far as the other stories were not major stories. They involved a Black Adam casting, but we still don't know who the actress that was cast is playing.
Right.
Her name is Rachel Zegler, and I believe she
Is that
is.
from Friends?
I believe she is Bolivian. No, let let me check.
Yeah, I can't remember now. Peruvian?
Colombian. She's
Colombian.
Colombian. Yes. She grew up in New Jersey. New
What did
Jersey.
she play in?
She was
She's going to be
in.
in Spielberg's West Side Story
Yes, she was,
coming up.
which was supposed to come out in 2020, and I think that's her big break. The fact that she's playing Maria in West Side Story, but
Maria, Maria, you remind me of West Side
I
Story.
just heard that song on the radio today,
It's such a good one.
25 years later.
I
I know.
mean,
Was
the
it
funny
25
thing
years
is,
later? Goddamn.
That song came out in honestly, that song probably came out around 99, 2000, something like that.
yeah,
Well, since I was just born then, and
That was like one of the first CDs I had in my Acura Legend that I used to drive in my first car.
yeah. What's the
yeah,
song?
yeah, me too.
I mean, it was so funny that like when that song "Wild Thoughts" came out, which has the same beat, I was like, oh
Yeah.
wow, everybody's Maria's back, and I was like, oh no, it's a totally
Nope.
different song. I'm just old. But yeah, there is a rumor that the character that Rachel Zegler is going to be playing is one of the three goddesses, but it has not been confirmed. But we'll keep an eye on that story as it
They should
unfolds.
get the girls from the Cardi B's video up to play the three goddesses. You know, the ones who were in the clams? They were pretty hot. Just saying.
I mean, I'm not going to turn down hot women in superhero movies, but we'll see how it goes.
Just
And there
saying.
was there was another sort of rumor based on casting news. So we got one side of the story. This was for that casting was for the Shazam movie, and this casting is for the Black Adam movie, as they continue to cast Polynesian people, one to play the young version of The Rock in the movie, and they're also looking for a magician, and it's been highly rumored that magician is going to be Doctor Fate. Are you a big fan of Doctor Fate, Carlos?
I honestly can't say that I am. Not that I'm against Dr. Fate. I just know very little about the character, more than he will apparently be appearing in this film.
That is fair. I mean,
I'm at a
he's.
Kia level of knowledge about Dr. Fate.
I mean,
Are
he's.
you gonna ask me, Mike? Are you gonna ask me what I think about Dr. Fate, Mike?
I'm gonna ask you what you think about Doctor Fate, Kia.
I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy.
I don't want to step over. I don't want to step on your line. I don't want to step on your line. But yeah, I think that Doctor Fate is obviously it's too easy to make the parallel to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But he's basically Doctor Strange, but he
They
wears
went
a
to the same
helmet.
med school.
Yeah, they're exactly.
Yeah.
They were
So
lab partners.
you
They
call
crew
yourself
together.
Dr. Strange? I'll call myself Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
You got the big back. I got the big Mick.
He's but he does, but the one big difference between him and Doctor Strange is that there's a helmet that there's a spirit named Nabu, I think it's Nabu, uh, who
Do you not
extends
know
who
what it is?
extends pronunciations are funny.
You
But
know, it's an African name. You should know this, Mike.
okay, don't African shame me. But yeah, so the rumor is that the early roots of Nabu are going to be explored in Black Adam, and that will be how they bring Doctor Fate into the universe. So I'm here for it. Incredibly
It's
ancient and powerful cosmic entity whose spirit is contained in the helmet of helmet of fate. I mean,
So he's like a slave to like the helmet, pretty much, essentially.
they
mm,
kind of just did that in X-Men, didn't they? The X of Swords storyline,
Mm,
where there's
oh
yeah.
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
a helmet that wants to conquer.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But
This I feel I feel two ways about DC movies. Like I'm so happy that they're getting into their lore and they're digging deep and going for the deep cuts, but I don't trust them to continue it. So
yeah,
like it's like, oh, so we'll get this and then there won't be another Black Adam movie. And when it is, by the time it is, it'll be The Rock's like grandson playing him. So
exactly. Yeah,
like
it's always
it's hard
it's
to
a
get
tough
excited.
thing. It's a tough thing because
The Rock can't make boys. Just
like
saying.
it's great to say, which a lot of people do say, um, I just want them to make really good movies, right?
Yeah.
But that's you don't create a comic book world if all you're in it for is standalone movies. At some point, you meet all these characters that come from these disparate parts of the universe, and people want to see their stories continue. Hawkman's going to be in Black Adam. If people like Hawkman, they're going to want to see Hawkman have his own story. If
Right.
people like Doctor Fate, they're going to want to see Doctor Fate have his own story. We saw the same thing happen with Birds of Prey, where a lot of people were like, "We like these characters. I want to see where they go next." And there's
Yeah.
nothing on the books that's going to be a continuation of those stories. That's one of the downsides. Even if their movies are good, people want to see the different directions that their stories could go, and they haven't quite figured that part out yet.
And
I'm
not only
rooting
like
for them.
not only not a continuation of their stories, but like it feels like all of these movies take place in pocket universes. So like there isn't even a continuation of the continuity in another movie.
Right.
So like the Margot Robbie Harley Quinn that we'll see next will probably be made by a different filmmaker than made Birds of Prey, and therefore will be a completely different take on the character, just happening to be with the same actress. And then we may never see like Journey Smollett as Canary again,
Right.
or like it may never occur. So yeah,
Right.
it's just it's like what am I investing in?
Exactly. And it's tough because one of the things that fuels any kind of continuous, whether it's sequels or extended universe, is the idea that you are investing in these characters for the long haul. um, Investing in them on just a single movie by single movie basis means that when we get these castings, it's less impactful,
Right.
because there's not enough time to really get into the particularities of these characters. I mean, it's one of the things that sort of Marvel was able to unlock. I mean, we see it all the time with WandaVision, right? Before we get into that discussion, like we're getting Monica Rambeau, and we're enthusiastic about it because we already know that we're going to see Monica Rambeau in something else, either exactly in Captain Marvel 2 or in something else beyond that. Like
Yeah.
we can say that we get 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there of this character, but we know that it's worthwhile to invest in this character because this character's story is going to continue elsewhere.
I mean, like Wu and Darcy are
Yeah,
from two other franchises, and we're just borrowing their side piece characters to be major players in this story. Like that, it's a basically what Marvel did was they named Kevin Feige the head of the operation. He's basically the showrunner of a
mhm,
very large television show. Like,
right.
and then the directors and everything like that all they all answer to him. Whereas at DC, I don't feel like I'm in good hands, so it's hard to invest in their movie properties.
Exactly. But all that being said, I already can tell that, big DC fans are probably upset right now, but we are rooting for your stuff.
Yes.
We are rooting for everyone to get on the same page.
I'm not rooting for Zack Snyder. I just want to say
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm
I'm still putting 4 hours of my life into watching that movie, so I'm hoping at least I will be entertained.
I'm getting my
At
second
least
shot the day before it comes out, so I may just be laid out just watching the 4-hour Justice League for the whole day.
that's
Mm.
that's the day after the Siren Day of my people, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I will definitely be hungover watching that movie.
Yeah.
see, he should have put it out on St. Patrick's Day, and it would just
No, 'cause
be paired with drinking.
I'm already
Yeah.
drinking the Irish cream.
The O. Snyder cut.
I can't have the taste of Zack Snyder destroy Irish car bombs for me. So Irish car bombs the drink, not the actual thing.
Yeah, in the Snyderverse, Irish car bombs actually explode.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
well,
but in the Snyderverse, when the Irish car bomb explodes, some guy comes by and just breaks everyone who you wanted to die's neck.
Snaps her neck.
It doesn't actually hurt anyone.
right. Well, that concludes our news, and I guess it's time to dive into racial draft business for the 12th all polls round. Before we do that, Carlos, we didn't get your overall thoughts of the round.
Overall thoughts of the round, I just kept focusing on who wasn't taken by the end of it.
Yeah.
Who wasn't even nominated, and I
Like
was
who?
like mad, like Apocalypse. I was
Exactly.
like, how is Apocalypse not on anyone's list?
I mean, I think part of it is that we just don't know when Apocalypse is going to show up again.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Like, he was a big player, a guy that I wanted in the first season because we knew he was, he had a major role to come. But in this season, I get why he was kind of off people's radar. The thing that shocked me was the fact that neither the Falcon nor the Winter Soldier were picked or even nominated at any point in this season.
Yeah.
And that might end up, kind of biting people on the ass because, those characters might end up outscoring some of the drafted characters.
Oh, excuse me.
Where's
Deathlock.
Randy?
Deathlock.
Where is Randy?
Hey, Deathlock might show up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I honestly can't tell you. Honestly, my takeaway from it was I've been talking a lot of shit about my team, but there are like some really good teams out there. And I think the multiracial team has
Damn right. Okay,
has a
sorry.
squad. I think both Asian delegations have done very well for
Yeah,
themselves.
they really have.
I mean, I even think the picks that Joaquin actually made, like the late round picks, especially, I was like, dude, you just came through with some it's like you drafted in reverse. Like if you told me he got Carnage and Venom in this first two picks, and then he blew the 12th pick on Deathlock, I'd be like, yeah.
Right.
Somehow he was able to get Deathlock and then still pick up a second or third round pick in the 9th round.
He's a killer.
They're just I really it's hard to find a really bad team. I think that they're all going to be it's going to be I would imagine more competitive than last season's was.
Yeah. I mean it's really going to depend on how much Batman flex happens.
Telling you, this one showing of the Snyder cut versus 4 weeks of Batman is killing me. But Gordy was going to get all of the other picks because Cyborg and who else did you have? Cyborg and Flash, Superman, yeah.
I have Wally West Flash.
Oh, that's right.
So, but
that's right.
My Ubermensch team of cis white men is gonna come in second. I understand it. Listen, I don't think that you can win a season without one of the DC Trinity. And I'd like to test my theory, but I think.
So who's the DC Trinity?
Yeah, you have Superman. You can't test that theory.
Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman.
I just don't think the winner is coming from one of the teams that do not have Superman, Wonder Woman, or Batman. And that means that the Ubermensch is in that, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, I guess last season the top three teams all had the DC Trinity on one of the DC Trinity members on their team, so that does hold.
DC puts out so many books and so many digital books that when you look at the points, it's hard to stack up the top end of DC versus the top end of Marvel. It
Right.
lapped, and then Batman laps everything. But
Yeah, DC is
There's nothing
particularly
that-
top heavy, whereas I think Marvel does a better job of kind of distributing the bell curve a little bit widely, you know.
Yeah, when you buy an
Diversifying,
X-Men
you
book,
might
there's
say.
like the first page of an X-Men book will tell you, here are the 9 characters you're going to get in this one. Because, you know, there's like a roster of like 1,000. And so it's like, oh, I don't even know who that character is. Let me look that up. Okay, this is what I should expect from them. In a Batman book, it's like, it's Batman. What are you talking about? It's Batman.
Right.
And there's going to be a bad guy. And guess what? It's the Joker, because it's always the Joker. And Harley Quinn's going to show up because it's Harley Quinn. Like DC is very reliant on like workhorse characters, and like they do not. Yeah.
Yeah, if
DC
this
is
was-
Tom
like, to-
Thibodeau.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, to use a sports analogy, the usage rate and the PERs like of their
Yeah.
top stars, they're not building a large rotation.
Yeah.
You know, they're running their guys into the ground with the time of possession. But
which is what I would love for them not to do with the movies, because I do not need to see the Waynes die again. I do not need to see Krypton blow up again. Okay, Wonder Woman, that's cool. You can give me as much Wonder Woman as you want, but I would
thought so
love-
too, and then 84
And then-
came out. I was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need.
Yeah,
I'm in
84.
the
Oh my
minority.
god.
I didn't hate it. I liked it. It was fun. I
But
also
here's the
loved
question.
middle-
Here's the question, Carlos. If you had to pick future movies set in the universe of Wonder Woman 84 or future movies set in the universe of the Snyderverse, of the Snyder Cut.
Aren't they the same universe? Like, don't
I'm just saying, like, from an offshoot perspective.
I would rather, I guess, have the Patty Jenkins verse than the Snyder verse. I'm not even, I guess. I definitely would rather have the Patty Jenkins verse.
Are
But
you sure?
but at the end of 84, I was like, this was so unruly that I don't know that you can make a sequel to it. Because how are we going to move forward? Like, the world is just going to forget that one time that the dude was
Everybody
just
could have had
granting
everything.
wishes.
and then-
Like, what?
Exactly. The
Yeah.
fuck.
I mean, that's they would have us believe that that 10 years later, people were like, wishes? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superman shows up in Man of Steel, and the world is like, nothing like this has ever happened before. What?
It's just a time those people don't talk about.
I mean, if
That's
it was,
all.
It'd be like
I-
2020.
if it was set in the 70s, they could chalk it up to everybody was on drugs.
Yeah, right.
But in the 80s, you know,
Everybody was on drugs or suffering
You could
the
go.
of the drugs.
You could go with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer defense and call everything weird that all the regular people see a gas leak.
That's what they did in Community as well. At that 4th season of Community, that's the gas leak
Yeah,
season.
the gas leak season, yes. Oh man, Zack Snyder sucks.
All right,
All right.
I gotta step away for a second. I'll be back.
But
Well,
yeah, like
one
I
of-
said, let's dive into the picks. The
Okay.
first pick of the round was decided by not just a poll, but by a runoff poll, which was crazy because the South Asian delegation put into their poll, they had their 4 characters were, sorry guys, their 4
Two
characters
polls are always better than one.
correct. Yeah, so
I'm-
therefore, yes, Kia?
Yes, Kia, we'd like to hear about your experience with two
With
polls.
two
What
polls.
was that?
I think 2 polls are always better than 1.
All right. So their 4 characters
More
were
fulfilling.
Bishop, Cable, Modoc, and Sharon Carter. No, yes, and Sharon Carter. And the winner of their poll by a bit of a landslide at 40.7% was Cable. Second
Was
place.
Sharon Carter the first time that we've mentioned a non-superhero character throughout this season?
Um,
I think so.
I think
I mean,
you
it's
know.
I mean, she's got like sort of powers now, though, in the current Captain America
True.
run, you know.
True.
So, but yeah, so I mean, I think now she's wearing the Iron Patriot. No, she wore the Iron Patriot armor for I guess a couple issues, but now they haven't figured out what her hero name is going to be. So she's got powers now, and I guess he was thinking if he can get on the ground floor of whatever push they've got going with for Sharon Carter. And remember, she's going to actually be in Falcon the Winter Soldier. It would have been
Right.
crazy. It would have been crazy if she got drafted and neither Falcon nor Winter Soldier got selected. But
And
like I said,
as incestuous as that MCU has been, I'm sure there's going to be some kind of love triangle there where they don't pretend like the guy that they love, Steve Rogers, was into the love of his life's niece.
I mean, we won't talk about what we all find on the
No, we
hub
should
on,
about it. No, that's definitely.
on the hub, but like I get it. He came out of the ice. He didn't know she was his niece. She was her niece, not his
I've
niece.
always,
That would be weird. But but yeah, like I said, so 40.7% for Cable, 22.2% for Sharon Carter, 18.5% for Modoc, and 18.5% for Bishop. So it was fairly one-sided for Cable. And what ended up happening is that there was a runoff poll between that delegation and the multiracial delegation, and with 58.3% of the poll voters, they sided with the South Asian delegation, and they got Cable, Nathan Dayspring. I'll go ahead and read from the wiki.
Real quick
ooh,
before
this
you
has got to be a long one.
was that the last of the multiracial delegation season 1 characters that were finally drafted? Like so.
Because I got Deadpool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stay
you got.
tuned. Stay tuned. We'll get there.
Oh, okay. Like,
But yeah, we're not going to read the full extensive multi-timeline thread. We're going to go with the basics of the Cable origin. Feel free to tune into our Patreon, where we'll go into all of the different nuances of Cable. But the once mysterious Cable, aka Nathan Summers, is Cyclops' time-traveling son, who was infected with a deadly techno-organic virus during his infancy, which he keeps at bay using his advanced psionic powers. At one time a founding member and leader of the militant team called X-Force, previously known as the New Mutants, Cable takes the aimless youths under his wing and whips them into fighting shape in order to prepare them for future threats. One thing that was not said in this wiki is that Cable was killed by his younger self, a la Looper. And that character is now hooking up with various characters on Krakoa. What do you guys thoughts about Cable? Carlos, start with you.
Cable is a strong pick because Cable appears all the time and has his own book. And that is why I engaged my troll farm to keep him away from the multiracial delegation. No, seriously though, Cable's a dope pick. I mean, that's just a good character. And I didn't think I would care about Cable so much, but I think honestly, starting with like Deadpool 2, I was like, okay, I do like Cable. And yeah, reading the X books, like Cable just shows up. Cable's there.
Yeah, I think they've been doing a really good job with the younger Cable,
Yeah.
honestly. And I was a little bit skeptical of, I was a huge X-Man fan. I don't know if you remember that character from the Age of Apocalypse. I think that they've done a good job of taking the Cable that a lot of people know and love and giving him enough youthful elements to where you want to see kind of like whether he'll still develop into that grizzled veteran of immense wars against Apocalypse and the like.
Right.
What about you, Gordy? What do you think about Cable?
I voted for Bishop. I will always be Team Bishop when it comes to Bishop versus Cable. I like my time travelers to have a little more pizzazz than Cable. But no, I mean, Cable's been around. In a way, like when I was thinking about this and voting, I was thinking about Cable. Cable got on the X-Men 92 series so quickly after he was created, and he's basically been a part of the X-Men prominently the entire time. He doesn't have, that time where it took a long time, like we were talking about with Blue Beetle, that Jaime's not in other things and whatnot, and then, hopefully the character's Q rating will go up. Cable's been there since essentially since Rob Liefeld threw his fourth or fifth pouch on him, and he was off and running.
I mean, I feel like Cable's basically John Connor, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, he's the chosen one, except he's the chosen one that comes back to the present. He's like the Terminator. He's like John Connor and Kyle Reese at the same time, trying to prevent the future that he comes from, and he hangs out with his parents without like hooking up with them, which would be Back to the Future style weird. Um, but I mean, one thing I also like is that obviously the South Asian delegation, they have Jean Grey, so they get to have Jean Grey plus Jean Grey's son. So there's a nice little bit of synergy there. Kia, are you a Cable fan?
Yeah, I mean, he gives you points.
I forgot. I mean, he was on your team, so you were
Mhm.
definitely enough of a fan to draft him.
Yeah.
But we're doing things a little bit differently this week because it's the last round. So people have a little bit more time to put in their approval ratings. So as of yet, the approval rating is not final, listeners. So if you'd like to know, make your voice known in terms of the approval voting. The polls are still open.
Add your
As
hate.
the
I
polls
know.
are still open. So right now it is 50% strongly approve, 16.7% somewhat approve, 0% somewhat disapprove, and 33.3% strongly disapprove.
What the fuck?
Racists. However, if you're not a racist and you'd like to voice your disapproval or approval, feel free
So
to find the racial draft on Twitter, cast your vote, cast your reasoning for
Clubhouse.
your vote. We have not yet done a racial draft clubhouse, but stay tuned.
I'll start one.
But
You can be a hater and not a racist. It's okay.
it is
Some of us just hate on all the picks because we drink haterade.
that is fair. But she's still. I like funny hate. So if you're gonna hate on Cable, I need some jokes. I need some reasons that you have a problem with South Asian Cable. However, let's move on. Let's move on to the next pick, which is
I won't say that.
which is the Jewish delegation. Their poll choices were Firestar, Johnny Blaze, Quicksilver, and Rachel Summers. And with 40.9% of the vote, Pietro Maximoff, aka Quicksilver, was the winner for the Jewish delegation. Now, it still remains to be seen whether Pietro Maximoff will get bonus points for appearing on WandaVision. I say no.
Nope.
So, but yeah, what do you think about Pietro Maximoff, aka Quicksilver, Kia?
Good choice. I mean, yay.
What about you, Gordy?
I like it. I assume that everything coming out of WandaVision is going to reverberate into the comics, and we're going to see more of both Maximovs, I would assume. So Pietro, maybe not in the scoring period, but Pietro, maybe towards the end of it, I'm sure we'll be getting a little bit more shine than what was previously planned.
What about you, Carlos?
I like that they completed the set.
Yeah.
I don't know what it does for the points, honestly. I don't expect it to do a ton points wise, but it's the 12th round. So complete your sets. We should get bonus points for completing certain sets, honestly.
Yeah, it says
Multiplier.
Well, I too am happy that they were able to complete the set with Scarlet Witch and Pietro, and I'm happy for them in that respect. And I too wonder if we'll see Pietro at all in the in the next couple months, because it doesn't feel like there's a natural place for him.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
Using my psychic powers.
It doesn't feel like there's a natural storyline for him right now. There's barely a natural storyline for Scarlet Witch. So, fingers crossed for the Jewish delegation right now in terms of approval rating. Like I said, the polls are still open, so make your voices known. Right now, it is 82.3%. Sorry, 83.3% approval with 44.4 strongly approve, 38.9 somewhat approve, 11.1 somewhat disapprove, and 5.6% strongly disapprove. But again, keep on voting. We'll let you know next week how it shapes out or shapes up or shakes out. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
There it is. You'll come around to it eventually. Just keep stabbing at it.
And that brings us
That's what he
to
said.
the white
Uh-oh.
delegation.
What?
And
No!
the white delegation in their whitewashing
caucus?
poll, which was Amadeus Cho, Black Lightning, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, and Robbie Reyes. So you really put people in a tough spot, Gordy.
I didn't put them in a tough enough spot. The fans of the Racial Draft podcast have failed me. They have not joined in deep enough into the whitewash. This is a failure of democracy in America, along the lines of which we have not seen. I mean, at this point, it's
don't storm any capitals, Gordy. Be careful. Well, with
if there
44,
was a capital of white people, I would be storming it because they did not show up for me here, taking the one character on the poll who is already half white.
You put him there.
I know.
I should.
Why didn't you give us
That was a
Shuri?
mistake. Because
Don't give him
I
any.
didn't wanna
Don't
put-
give him any. Don't give him any ideas.
Come on.
Do you know who I thought you were going to take? Dr. Voodoo. Because that would have been amazing. Dr. Voodoo's a white guy now.
I did have a thought to do just a complete frontal attack on the black team and have Black Lightning, Falcon, Dr. Voodoo, and Shuri. I would assume as
Misty Knight, of course.
there we go.
But
wait, that wouldn't have worked. She can't be a cis white male, so I would have had to.
Right.
I would have had to put someone else in there.
Well, I full disclosure, I voted for Black Lightning, because
So
chaos.
did I.
I just would because I would have wanted him to keep the afro, and like be a white dude with an afro, but
No, he would have had those white people dreadlocks. It would have been fantastic.
but
Um,
but the winner with 44.8% of the vote was Miguel O'Hara. So I guess he just has to change his name to Mickey O'Hara, and he's just full Irish. So
I mean,
he loses he
It's-
definitely loses the Day of the Dead design on his suit. Is it just a shamrock now? Like
just replace all the red with green, and he'll be good to go
St.
with
Patrick's,
that Kelly green.
the St. Patrick's
he's
Day Spidey.
He's now a big fan of the 2099 version of the Boston Celtics.
Oh no. Oh man. But yeah, 44.8% for Spider-Man 2099, 27.6% for Robbie Reyes. So he got a little dicey there. 13.6 for Amadeus Cho and 13.6 for Black Lightning. Any little sprinkling of changed backstory, or are you just going to say that there are white people in the future and they colonize yet another superhero, given that in our racial draft universe, Spider-Man was Asian?
There should be a backstory coming. There may be one where there are nothing but white people in 2099.
Oh, nice.
Just to give you an idea of where that may come. But if anything like that will be a punishment to the listeners who did not push one of the more controversial characters. They have now inspired me for next season, and things will be different.
Well, you guys have.
you, T'Challa.
So you guys have
First
white
round
Miles
pick.
Morales. You have white Miles Morales and white Miguel O'Hara. So the Spider-Verse has just been completely changed over.
The way that spiders are all white.
There
Those
are white fighters.
those of you who are following on our Patreon, if you could see Carlos's face right now, the English only
Holding his heart.
contingent has is winning yet again. It's
I
very
don't want to press one for English no more.
I
yet
like to think
again.
that in 2099, basically the world looks exactly the same as it does now, but white people have had to bring more and more minority groups into being considered white.
Nice.
And every restaurant is still Taco
Yeah.
Bell.
So, like, as ever, the polls are still open. So as of yet, we are dealing with half and half in the approval rating, with 20% strongly approve, 30% somewhat approve, 30% somewhat disapprove, and 20% strongly disapprove. A perfect bell curve as of right now. Make your voice heard if you're down with the Miguel O'Hara, or sorry, Mickey O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099.
Randy,
Uh,
what do you think of it?
yeah, what do you think of Spider-Man for the white delegation?
I think it's awful, but on the bright side, it's not one of my people. So congrats.
You should have heard what you were saying right before you got on.
That's real. That's real. Um, we are. Did you have any thoughts?
Randy is happy. We know Randy is happy to see my cis white Ubermensch team. He's excited.
Randy, did you have any thoughts about the other two picks in the earlier picks? Sorry, from the Cable for the South Asian delegation, and Quicksilver for the Jewish delegation.
Well, Cable, I think is a really good choice. I'm really happy that they got him, and of course, I said last time, Pietro Maximoff is one of my favorite in terms of Marvel. So I'm happy that he's staying right where he belongs.
Gotcha. Well, that brings us to the Native American delegation. I gotta be honest, I was rooting for Killmonger. The other choices were Killmonger, Puck, Harvey Dent, and Nadia Van Dyne, and it was pretty close, 34.8% compared to 30.4%. But the winner was Eugene Judd, aka Puck. I will go ahead and read from his wiki page. The bouncing and dwarfic dynamo, the bouncing and dwarfish dynamo of Alpha Flight, the good-natured Puck is the heart and soul of the team. He had recently joined Salak and the Storm's Uncanny X-Force, but has now returned to Alpha Flight, working in space. He's moved on in current storylines to Gamma Flight, and he's been dealing with the Hulk a little bit in the Immortal Hulk book. But yeah, so Puck is there. He's Native American. I guess there have been some talk about making him, Canadian First Nations. What were your thoughts, Randy, about Puck for the Native American delegation?
Well, yeah, I definitely was going for the more well known names in the lineup, but I don't feel like there were any bad choices there. So I feel like I could it's a reasonable he's ripe with potential, I guess you could say.
Yeah. What about you, Gordy?
I'm always gonna love anything that highlights Puck. I'm hoping that he will get used and he will score points, because I've always just found him a fun character. And changing his race is something that could definitely be a fun endeavor. It wouldn't, because Puck isn't exactly serious, over the top allegories for life and death. So there can be a bit more fun with the changing of the backstory here, I think.
Got it. And Carlos, what do you think?
I wanted Killmonger.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. I wanted Killmonger.
I was a Killmonger voter as well. You just, especially what we know about the drafting patterns of the Native American delegation. It just felt right. Just felt right. What about you, Kia? Kia.
Okay. Yeah, I actually want to Killmonger as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
who the fuck is Puck? Yeah, that's right. I just made this whole
Puck was on the first season of The
Rated
Real World, remember?
oh yeah, exactly. Well, weirdly enough, the voters feel otherwise, as right now 92.4%
Oh.
approval rating, with 46.2 strongly approve, 46.2 somewhat approve, 0 somewhat
like-
disapprove, and 7.7 strongly disapprove. So
Not bad.
so Puck is going over well.
Hmm.
I was shocked.
Okay.
Very shocked.
All right.
Um,
Okay.
All right. But that brings us to the Latinx delegation. Great pick. I will go ahead and say what the breakdown was with the other choices. Deadpool, Marrow, Peacemaker, and the new Valkyrie, who still doesn't have a name.
Tessa.
Tessa Thompson.
Tessa the Valkyrie.
And apologies to Nina, because her number one choice ended up being number two at 25.9%. But the number one choice at 44.4% was Wade Wilson, the Merc with a Mouth himself, Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a little preview of like what Latino Deadpool brings to the table, Carlos.
Latino Deadpool still loves Mexican food.
Nice.
Still a fan. And yeah, I was racking my brain for like, okay, there's got to be a better pick than John Leguizamo to play Deadpool. But really, like, he's pretty perfect. Like, he's got there's not another Latino actor who's quippier than John Leguizamo.
Especially like prime Leguizamo.
Yeah, yeah, like prime I'm Clown and Spawn Leguizamo doing one-man Broadway shows. That guy is kind of perfect for that role. And yeah, I'm not going to change too much about the backstory. You ever heard of it? He's an assassin.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of those on the team now.
I mean, is he gonna be a Puerto Rican Canadian?
He's gonna be Leguizamo is Puerto Rican and
Cuban.
I want to say Colombian.
Okay.
I gotta double check. But
Got it.
we've basically stuck to whatever actors we've chosen. We've made the characters from those countries. So
Gotcha. I'll go ahead and dive into the wiki. Wade Wilson is a former test subject of the Weapon X program, where he received his regenerative healing factor through the scientific experiments conducted upon him. Daredevil's powers and personality traits combined to make a wild, mentally unstable, and unpredictable mercenary. Deadpool has been a member of X-Force and the Thunderbolts, and is a self-professed member of the X-Men and the Avengers. The Merc with a Mouth is infamous for breaking the fourth wall. Now, in terms of approval rating, still ongoing, people. So keep making your voices heard. In terms
will
of
Latinx Deadpool know that he's been race bended?
I mean, I'm sure he'll say some. I'm sure he'll comment about it. He's like, "Why am I talking Spanish now?"
when did I learn Spanish? Why do I dance better?
Somebody adjusted my closed captions.
Who hit the SAP button on me? Okay, so Leguizamo is Colombian, and apparently, according to him, his paternal grandfather was Italian and Puerto Rican, and his maternal grandmother was Lebanese. But then his father declared in an interview that he is Colombian and not Puerto Rican, and that Leguizamo is therefore not half Puerto Rican as he has always stated. He is just straight up Colombian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So in terms of approval rating, we are right now at 50-50, with 50% strongly approved and 50% strongly disapproved. That is the most Deadpool thing ever, as far as a polarizing character is concerned. So it could go either way, guys. Get your votes in.
That's bizarre.
Join me in the hate. Feed your hate.
I'm just saying, I've got Blade, I've got Quanon, I've got Elektra, and Deadpool. So, like, sword fights, we win.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you would need, like, Leonardo the Ninja Turtle.
I mean, there are definitely jokes to be had about Latinx people in blades right now. Just gonna let it. I'm gonna let it hang out there.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Superman doesn't worry about swords.
I mean, someone can get a kryptonite sword in there. Um,
I personally voted for unnamed Black Valkyrie, but happy to pick up Deadpool in the 12th round of the draft. Like
yeah,
that's
Marvel
Deadpool.
Thank
really
you.
is.
Deadpool is
But
a character that I really would have been upset if he didn't end up getting drafted, because he's I know he doesn't have a book right now, but has an anniversary book that's supposed to drop in our period, and he's pops up everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's around. He's one of those mainstays in Marvel.
And
And
now
he's
that
a
we've extended the scoring period for another 2 weeks, I don't know if he's even in the what would that be? The May solicitations. I haven't even checked. So
Yeah. I mean, I know he's supposed to appear in the Savage Avengers in the coming weeks, and he has his own book.
but
Like
Savage Avengers is like it's like Conan and then like kind of whoever he meets up with that week.
Yeah.
that's
So
true.
it's hard to tell who's going to stay other than Conan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The next pick is the Polynesian delegation.
woo!
Hamati has been giving us bangers all season long, and
All
this
you do is
time out,
bang everybody and they never recover.
this time out, the choices were the High Evolutionary, Kiwi Black, Silver Surfer, and Tamara DeVoe, aka Captain Universe. And with 37.1% of the vote,
Thankfully.
Silver Surfer won out. Now, what did you guys think, Carlos? What do you think about Silver Surfer for the Polynesian
Wait, didn't
delegation?
Silver Surfer like already get chosen?
No, that
For
was
the Jewish?
season one.
No, it's Jewish delegation.
No, that was season one.
No, you totally said it. Like you really did. For the Jewish delegation, you said Silver Surfer won.
No,
Wait, what wrong?
no, this is the Polynesian delegation.
I know, but for the Jewish delegation, you went over it. I swear to God, you said Silver
Quicksilver.
Surfer.
They had Quicksilver.
Oh,
Quicksilver Surfer. I was like, wait, I think I know what's happening here.
Oh,
I'm
He's only listening to
Oh,
half of
glad
the
you
let's
did.
go
podcast.
around this out. Okay, all right, okay, I'm back.
I got there.
Well,
I got there,
those
guys.
silver guys, we always get them
no.
confused.
One person runs, the other person surfs. That's the key. And I
Oh,
feel
my
like
bad.
I feel like getting a Polynesian surfer just feels right, you know?
Big Mac. Okay, cool.
And I love Silver Surfer as just like even the idea of Silver Surfer is just kind of
Yeah.
dope. It's so very 60s, 70s, and yeah, I can't wait to see what Tamati does with a backstory reflecting Polynesian mythology and heritage and imbuing it onto that character.
I agree. What about you, Gordy?
I would love to see. I don't know if he can go. I don't know if Tamati can go grander than the Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer was the spark of life in the entire universe, as he is in Silver Surfer Black. So I'm interested in it, and I think it's a great pick. And he's heralding the God of Light in Marvel as we currently speak. So he will definitely be showing up in places and getting points.
Oh yeah, he's in King in Black, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so points for the Polynesian delegation starting this week. Randy, what do you think?
Silver Surfer is another top fave. Like you don't get cooler than the Silver Surfer in terms of just like, the scale of his power. Like anytime you want like a really a real powerhouse to like fight against the bad guy, you're like, hey, where's the Silver Surfer? What's he up to right now? So it's always good to see whenever he gets into action. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, now,
So many fantastic runs
Yeah.
on different Silver Surfer books.
yeah, I
Mhm.
still haven't read the full the full run from Slot from the Dan Slot run where he was basically Doctor Who.
Treat yourself. Treat yourself. It is so good. Yes, absolutely
Yeah.
good on.
Do they have like audiobooks for comics?
I think there's podcasts, but I don't know if there's full audiobooks.
Well,
Okay.
And the
And-
podcasts are original. They're not
Yeah.
like Batman Year One, the podcast. It's just it'll be like an original Batman story.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
it's
they
hard.
totally, they absolutely should actually go back and like, cover the comics in terms of like putting like sound effects and stuff like that to the actual comics, because but
But it,
apparently they don't.
but it would be hard to it would be hard to capture,
Yeah,
the incredible artwork
Yeah.
in audio form. That's the tough side of it. That's why it
Right.
would make sense to sort of adapt them in podcast form rather than try to just read them to you.
Well, I guess they did Sandman. I should correct myself. They did Sandman as like an audio
Oh, okay.
series,
Hmm.
if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. It was like an all-star cast. So
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah.
But here's the wiki. Norinrad of Zen-La is the mighty herald of Galactus, the devourer of worlds, gifted with the power cosmic and a trusty board that's faster than light speed, which he can summon at will whenever needed. Norinrad travels to distant reaches throughout the universe as the Silver Surfer. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that Tamati could do with the Silver Surfer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing, how that plays out.
I hope we get a great like galactic Silver Surfer movie. Not like I didn't even mind the Fantastic Four sequel, Silver Surfer. I didn't mind it. I am one of the 5 people who just really didn't mind the movie. But like I would love to see like a 2001 A Space Odyssey Silver Surfer, like just the light flash like reflecting off of him as like he's zipping.
See,
through
what
the
I'm thinking
universe.
is that if they do anything Silver Surfer on its own, it will probably be inspired by that slot run, because that does seem like enough of a self-contained story that could allow him to still do what he does while not while having a hook to it.
Yeah.
In terms of approval rating, big Surfer energy right now at 92.3% approval rating, including
Damn.
84.6% strongly approve for
Where are my
Silver
haters?
Surfer.
Because
86.
he's a good freaking character. Yes, I love.
I mean,
it.
they're still 7.7% racist, strongly disapproving. So they're there. But the majority of people saw Polynesian Silver Surfer and they were like, "Sign me the fuck up." And
Exactly.
I am right there with them.
Mm-hmm. Shirtless and everything. And with
I mean, is it
Naked.
shirtless? I mean, yeah,
Naked.
basically.
Literally.
ooh, yeah.
I mean, Kia, where are you on the Googles with the stunt casting? I mean, I was expecting you to have a Polynesian
Actually,
actor at the ready.
actually-
You have one, Randy?
Oh,
Randy,
well,
you were looking at Polynesian men earlier, and then you decided that.
I like how you think that like this is the only excuse I need. Okay, no, but I mean, I'm gonna just be basic and just say Manu Bennett.
I mean, he's more of a fighter, though. There's like a ruggedness to him that I feel like it'd be lost if he was just covered in silver, But I feel you. He's a good-looking guy.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, I feel like he's kind of underrated in terms of like his potential for emotionality. Like he like you seen kind of on Arrow and stuff like that how he kind of emotes for his lost love, Shadow and all this other stuff. And really, of course, he was the highlight of that, even when he was not necessarily being like the combat guy that everybody's afraid of.
I got it. Ben Dahalis. Dalhahas.
Can
And your
you?
last name is spelled Dahlhaus. You're welcome. You're welcome, ladies and gents.
Okay.
Click on that. Or lick it, whatever you want to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
You guys are all looking, going, damn. that's
Someone
a
dropped
piece of
that.
meat.
Someone dropped that link into our chat, and we'll throw it into the show notes.
Is it Dollhouse? I think his name is pronounced.
Are you judging me because of my speech impediment?
No, I want to know so I know that I'm looking at the right person. Is
I
it like
guess
I'm-
his first name's Ben.
I'm personally rooting for
H-A-U-S?
Russell Crowe because he counts as a New Zealander.
Yeah.
I don't
Isn't he
think anybody.
Australian?
I don't think anybody wants to
Yeah,
see
it does
naked
say
Russell
that. It
Crowe
does say
right
that.
now.
It really does.
Keanu Reeves counts, does he not?
I mean, he's
Yeah.
sort of. He
I
sort of
believe it
counts.
isn't his like one of his parents native Hawaiian?
Yes, and
Okay, so this person that I'm looking at is
Kid,
I,
the person that I'm looking at. I just want to confirm that
is
this
he like on
that
the
is mine.
beach?
DAHLHAUS.
Yep.
Okay, we're on the same page. All right, thank you for that. Appreciate
it's getting weird, guys.
What's his first name?
is it
it.
Ben?
His name is Ben.
Yeah, his name's Ben.
I feel
Ben,
left out.
be
As
over.
I think I'm the only person not Googling this random hot man.
Well, I'm
Wow.
having.
You're
missing
missing
out. See, Randy's like, damn.
Okay, I see this.
I
I see
would
this
very
guy.
much like to surf. I would very much like to surf his silver.
Okay. Oof.
Say it.
Damn.
Preach.
I mean,
You want to herald his coming?
all right. Word to
Ride my
Galactus.
spaceways any day.
All right. Well,
think I'm wet.
you did your
Oh,
due
In the
diligence
surfing, of course.
in the googling, and I will probably make this picture the show notes for the podcast, so that
You're welcome.
so we can get
Yeah.
those
Continue.
thirst followers, and yeah. But that brings us to the next choice, which is the black delegation. And
Yes,
they
yes,
too,
it is.
it came down to polls. And there were dueling polls, or one might call it a poll fight, between the black delegation and the Southeast Asian delegation. But I'll go ahead and
inches in
say
between.
what the choices were in the black delegation's polls. That was
Mhm.
Aquaman, Black Adam, Mera, and Shazam. And with 42.9% of the poll results, Black Adam came out on top.
Yep.
I think
Now-
it's just because it said black in there. Really.
That is possible.
Like, I mean, like, seriously.
But in terms of the head-to-head runoff poll, give me a second, guys. Trying
Were there
to.
tips for touching? I'm just trying to visualize.
I mean, it was a poll fight. Sometimes a poll fight's
Mhm.
gotta. But give me a second as I find the results. Came down to 62.3% for the black delegation to 37.7%. So it was a bit of a runaway, doubled up almost. And the black delegation got their man, Black Adam. How do you feel, Randy?
I feel good because now I can have our Hotep Black Adam. He can literally be like, we was kings, and I have literal proof. I have literal proof that we was kings because I was alive back then.
And I was a king. Yeah, talk us through what the typical Black Adam monologue is like, Randy.
Well, he's already like this kind of he's already got the bluster of like this guy who takes no crap and is like willing to start a fight at a moment's notice. So I could totally see him like constantly just like ginning up kind of like this idea of this African, this black pride of like not taking it from the man and all this other stuff because he's already in that position.
Right. And I could definitely see him having a problem with white Superman.
Absolutely.
Like it's like, oh, so you embrace the white man. I've got just as many superpowers, but you don't see the world embracing me.
I mean, honestly, and the funny thing is that it's not often talked about that Superman is like he's just as vulnerable to magic as anybody else is. but Black Adam, that magic is his whole thing. So I would absolutely think that of anybody, he would try to like kind of you know keep constantly mentioning how he could totally beat up Superman because he has that edge over him.
Right. And it remains to be seen what direction they go with the character in the coming months, because he's going to play a prominent role in the Justice League,
Hmm.
in Bendis's Justice League. We've already seen
LL
it.
Cool J.
We've already. I mean, he's or. I mean, right? We've already got The Rock playing him. Remember?
Oh, well, but you changed it to LL Cool J.
I mean, is he gonna be? Is one
Licking
of his
his lips,
powers gonna
saying
be
I'm
lick
like a
lipping?
thing.
Yeah,
Woo!
like is that a thing? He's just gonna be, instead of saying the magic word, he's just gonna lick his lips, and
He's gonna
his
lick his
powers
lips,
will.
and everybody's gonna be like, "I bow down."
I have to lick
He's
my
gonna be
lips
like,
right
"I
now,
need
and I'm not
love."
doing it
And
because.
everybody's just gonna bow.
Okay.
Oh man, listen, if you're
If it is LL Cool J, I want the magic word to be deepest bluest. My head is like a shark fin.
Okay, y'all are getting a bit ahead of yourselves.
Yeah.
It's not LL Cool J.
Well, I'm going to read from the wiki really quick. The original champion of the wizard, Black Adam, turned to brutality and ruthlessness to protect innocents after the murder of his family. Seeing him as corrupt, the wizard punished Adam with eternal imprisonment within the tomb of Ramses II. Following his escape, he overthrew Kahndaq's tyrant by force, becoming the country's defender and one of the most powerful enemies of Billy Batson, the superhero known as Shazam.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean that's another aspect that I thought was like really that would really shine through with Black Adam, because
mhm.
there's a lot of Black people who in this country we face all this other this discrimination and all of that stuff. And a lot of them kind of feel like you have to have that sort of radical solution to get these unjust people out of office and get them
Mm.
to I mean not necessarily even not even necessarily establish equality or whatever, but just to overthrow these oppressive figures in our government. So
So would your version of Hotep Black Adam, would he be perfectly okay with opening up Kahndaq to Black Americans to who might wanted to repatriate there?
well, I mean there's always the kind of idea of I guess like sort of testing for that philosophical purity. Like, are you trying to sit at their table, or are you trying to help establish your own table and kind of have your own uh, way of doing things? Because I don't think that he's particularly interested in trying to cooperate with other nations. But if you are kind of rooting for him to do the thing in terms of like overthrowing these people that he sees as unjust, then absolutely he's okay with having you on his side.
Right.
Mm.
No, I was just trying to spin the idea out that it's basically like, he's a little bit more militant. He's a little bit more um, protectionist when it comes to his nation.
Well, I
And
mean, yeah, but at the same time, I would say like he's sort of in that sort of like hotep mindset, I guess, is like this central thread of kind of like gatekeeping blackness.
mhm,
So yes, okay, I want to have these men who are strong and these women who are this, that, and the other. What they contribute to society, but as long as you kind of have that central idea of like black power and trying to not you know uh, basically not be a footstool or not be a pushover, then maybe you could potentially have a place to contribute in my society.
right. I mean, it's interesting. You have, kind of bookended your draft kind of nicely, because you have T'Challa as your first round draft pick and Black Adam as your 12th round pick.
Hmm.
How would you see like interactions between the two going?
I mean, basically how they would go along with like Black Panther and Namor. Like, I mean, they can have the respect for each other, but they often would butt heads and feel like, okay, I understand that your, whatever your philosophy is, but the second that it kind of overrides where I stand, then yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they often came to blows, like as often came to blows as it was that they potentially cooperated with one another.
Got it. No, it sounds
Real
pretty
quick,
cool. Sure.
you said in when you're reading from the wiki that Black Adam became Shazam. Am I?
Oh, he was like Shazam before Billy Batson took up the mantle. Like
Right.
he has
It's the same power
right,
as Shazam.
but
Just
except he doesn't like transform back to the normal version of himself. He just kind of stayed in that empowered state because that's how he's most effective.
right. And plus, I think if
Okay.
he ever changes back now, he'll probably like
Right.
die.
Yeah.
Because he's from that far back.
Mm-hmm.
Zadam.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That was debunked though, to be fair. But
I'm surprised the Jewish delegation didn't try to get Black Adam.
oh, I get it. So as of now, I mean the polls are still open, but as of now, it is a 75% approval rating with 75% strongly approving and 25% strongly disapproving. So keep voting, keep making your voices heard. I
Yes,
for
round
one,
out the haters.
yeah, I for one am a big fan of Black Adam, and I hope that Black Adam stays Black Adam.
Isn't
I
that
just
what
want
you
to see him
call
fight
that
the
thing that's by
Scorpion
your
King.
bed?
And that brings us to the loser of the runoff poll.
Yes.
The came down to, it was very close in their original poll with Cable and Quentin Quire basically tying. And because at 29.2%, with 25% for Nightcrawler and 16.7% for Beta Ray Bill, and because Cable lost the runoff poll, they're Quentin Quire, aka Kid Omega, was the choice for the multiracial delegation. We haven't heard from Shep in terms of a potential backstory for Quentin Quire, but I'm going to go ahead and read from the wiki.
Wait, hold on, time out. I just realized something. Multiracial delegation didn't get Cable?
No, the South Asian delegation got Cable.
Yeah.
The fuck?
They lost the poll.
Wait,
lost.
hold on, time out. I just remember like voting and voting for. Oh, maybe I voted for. Okay, you know what? Continue.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see what the final. It was funny though because at one point in time the multiracial delegation was winning the poll, but late surge of votes, which I know that
AKA hacking?
I know that Carlos isn't
Hacking?
gonna say anything, but a
I
late.
don't even know if I retweeted that poll. I was like, this one's over.
So with
that was Quicksilver again.
Like I said before,
Chris Bailey was really good with the splash with Karua.
58.3% of the polls went the South Asian delegation's way compared to 41.7%, and that flipped it to, like I said, Quentin Quire for the multiracial delegation.
Damn.
And I mean,
Told Shep to show his titties.
But Quentin Quire is an Omega level mutant telepath, super genius, and former student at the Xavier Institute. What do you think about Quentin Quire, Randy?
No, I was just about to say that it does work because I mean we got Black Charles Xavier and people are like theorizing that Quentin Quire might be the son of him. So I don't know.
Oh, I didn't hear that theory.
No, I mean it's totally just headcanon. It's not canonized. It's not established, but a lot of people are kind of theorizing that. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on the matter.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like this character until fairly recently.
Same.
I think he's being written well, but there's no getting around the fact that they kind of kill him in every other issue of X-Force. So maybe that's one reason that I kind of like him, because he's like they don't have he's kind of a jerk. He dies, he comes back, and he gets to be a jerk again. Then he dies and he comes back. But they're doing some interesting things with him in X-Force, and he can kind of pop up in other stuff. He was in West Coast Avengers for a little bit.
Hmm.
I think he's got pretty big cult following, so there's a possibility that he'll sort of stealthily score points for the multiracial delegation. Maybe not as much as Cable, but
Yeah.
for the 12th round, I think he's a solid pick. What about you, Carlos?
I'm glad that the multiracial delegation didn't end up with Cable or Nightcrawler, because I think Nightcrawler would have been a banger.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not a bad pick. I mean, I stand Grant Morrison created characters generally, so.
Oh yeah, he did create Choir. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's a good pick, and it's not as good as the picks they could have had.
Personally, I think that whenever the X-Men do come to the MCU, I could see Choir being one of those characters that like shoots up the charts.
Hmm.
But we're still a few years off from that, so he will just kind of be a cult character, I think, in the next year or so until they decide to roll out that solo book. What about you, Gordy?
Man, I've always loved Kid Omega, Quentin Quire. I think he is going to be one of the more prominent newer X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
As we go on and Black Akoa continues to grow and add more places for people to live. So no, I think it's a great pick, and like Carl said, in the 12th round, that's nuts. And it is also nuts that we're gonna do this without Nightcrawler being drafted, without Beta Ray Bill, and lots of other characters that we've that lost these polls not being drafted. It's sort of nuts.
Characters with books.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
these characters should have been drafted earlier on, though. That's all I can say to that.
I will take my licks on that. Yeah, that's my bad.
I have a pick for the fan casting.
For Quentin Quire?
Yeah.
It's another random Polynesian man.
No, actually it's not. Believe it or not, he's a British, Pakistani, and Irishman.
Okay. What's his name?
Zayn McCulloch or Malik or McCulloch. You know that guy. Come on board.
Zayn Malik?
In high tempo.
I know who exactly you were referring to.
That's actually not bad at all. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
I'm mad that I actually like that choice.
Wait, who are you guys talking about?
Zayn Malik?
What's his face from One Direction?
Was he in?
From One
Direction.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see him with pink hair for sure.
I see him with pink hair every night in my dreams.
All right
then.
Here we go.
Well,
I don't really dream about him. I just want to point that out.
I think I see him with pink hair every night in my dreams is the name of this episode.
He's having a baby with Gigi Hadid. Fun fact.
That is what Google tells me, yes. But yeah, okay. I don't.
So he climbed on board.
So yeah, there you go, Kid Omega. That brings us to, I believe, the final pick of the 12th round, which
drum roll
was
please.
A poll loser because they too had Black Adam as the winner of their poll, and because of the dominating win by the Black delegation was able to select from the poll choices. I'll go ahead and say what the poll choices were, though, for the Southeast Asian delegation. Give me a second.
That's one of those songs that, like, the moment you hear a chord, you're like, I know what that is. I think we're all just the right age for that.
That is correct. So the choices for the Southeast Asian delegation were Black Adam, Juggernaut, Lobo, and Mephisto. And 37.9% was Black Adam's winner, followed by 34.5% for Juggernaut, 20.7% for Lobo, and 6.9% for Mephisto. But by virtue of winning the poll, the black delegation was able to select the East Southeast Asian delegation's pick, and you picked Randy.
I picked Mephisto.
That's right. Asian Mephisto.
Ignoring the will of the people, Randy. Good job.
Yep. And what's funny is I actually, we didn't get a fan casting for Mephisto, but I had an actor in mind. I'm going to go ahead.
Who, Mike?
Give me a second, because I didn't commit his name to memory.
Oh, so he's in Google, not actually in your mind.
Interestingly, is he attractive?
Yeah, because Randy wants to know if he can dream about him later.
Like I said, I did not commit his name to memory, so I have to remember it from what let's look at my Google history. That'll do it for me.
Are you sure? Like, we're recording, Mike. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not putting my Google history on the podcast.
I think you should, actually. But that's for the Patreon, if you guys want to see Mike's Google history.
This is the East Asian delegation?
This is the East Southeast Asian delegation, and his name is...
It's a long way to go for John Cho.
No.
And John.
This is bad. This is bad radio, but his name is Hiroyuki. His name is Hiroyuki Sanada.
Are you sure?
I am sure.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Yes.
He's awesome.
What does he look like? Can you share your screen so we can see him?
He was in Last Samurai and Lost and
I think there were a lot of weren't there a lot of Southeast Asian people in Last Samurai? I mean,
as many as there should have been.
All Asian except Tom Cruise, right?
No, there were a few white people in that movie.
I've seen smoke, and not bad.
That was a real white person response there. Wasn't there a lot of East Asian people in the state?
Well, I did grow up in Hunterdon County, New Jersey.
He was in. I think he was in the Wolverine. I think he was.
Yes, he was. He was in the Wolverine.
Very not bad.
Yep.
Not the stuff dreams are made of, but okay, proceed.
I mean, I think if you put him in a nice, red suit. I feel like if you put him in a nice red suit, you spiked up his hair a little bit.
Okay.
He could be a Mephisto. He could be a Southeast Asian Mephisto.
I think he's going to be Santa Claus because he's in a red suit.
That's actually something I haven't seen, a Southeast Asian Santa Claus.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I don't have a joke. I don't have a joke for that.
I think that just requires deep thought.
I would have gone with Scarlett Johansson for this role, but
fair point. Fair, good point. I'll go ahead and read from the wiki. A sadistic, cruel, and dangerous extra-dimensional demon with unknown origins, Mephisto is incredibly powerful. Based on Mephistopheles, a demon from the Faust legend, Mephisto is known for stealing souls and torturing them in his hell-like dimension. He is one of the many hell lords in the Marvel Universe. I would say that up until recently, a lot of people might have thought we'd get some bonus points for Mephisto.
I still think we might get some bonus points.
Honestly, that was really the only reasoning why I actually chose him for the East and Southeast Asian delegation, because I wasn't quite sure about the Juggernaut.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't quite sure about Lobo. Actually, I'm fairly certain Lobo's not going to show up. But
no, Lobo has a way of randomly showing up in DC books and scoring a bunch of points. That's like that's his gag.
But the funny thing is, Lobo is actually he's going to be in a thing with Crush, but it shows up in May. So it's like it's way ahead. So I was like, I don't know if he's going to show up before then.
Yeah. And one
And
thing we do know about Mephisto is that he's playing a prominent role in the Avengers books.
right, exactly. And he's gonna his shenanigans are gonna lead up to the events of Heroes Reborn, I think it is,
Right.
which is like the Avengers that never assembled. So I wanted to at least give them some, some leniency on that part.
He's involved with the Squadron Supreme,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Coulson, and
Hmm.
weirdly enough, even though he had an opportunity to sabotage the East Southeast Asian delegation, you went ahead and went with someone who, you went ahead and went with someone who you thought could actually score for them,
I
which
mean,
is
I'm
which
I'm
is.
not all bad.
But that's it. That's the ninth round, guys. How do you? I mean, sorry, the ninth pick of the 12th round. Like, how do you guys feel about your teams overall?
I
I'm very satisfied, and I'm proud of everybody. Like I feel like this last round, nobody really came up with some like crazy out of the box pick that was like totally just far left field. I think everybody really did a good job this round.
I I tend to agree. I mean, obviously we're about to kick off a first week of Fantasy Comics League scoring, and we'll see
Mhm.
whether the strategies, the point scoring strategies, will pay off. But I'm just happy with the fact that it felt like people really came to play. They were thoughtful about the characters that they had in mind.
Mhm.
I'm eager to see what surprises there are in store. I'm still listen. The door is still open for backstories, guys. We can still talk about the backstories for characters that you haven't given in yet. We can talk about their interactions, especially as we kind of interplay between what's happening in the books and how those storylines could be slightly adjusted if these characters were, of a different racial background.
Mhm.
I guess for the benefit of the listeners, we'll run down the draft picks for the different delegations, starting with the number one pick, which was the East Southeast Asian delegation, where their first pick was Captain America, followed by Reed Richards, followed by Spider-Man Peter Parker, followed by Sue Storm, followed by Jessica Drew, followed by Johnny Storm, followed by Ben Grimm, followed by Silk, followed by Spider-Gwen, followed by Namor, followed by Shang-Chi, and then rounded out with Mephisto. That's strong.
Were there
Yep.
any DC picks in there? We
Uh,
caught a lot of shit for not having any Marvel characters. And I was talking to Martine like week 5 or whatever, being like, there are a lot of teams that have not picked a single DC character.
this is a yeah. This is a. I mean, obviously, it came down to the poll. Like Black Adam was the character that would have won the poll for the East Southeast Asian delegation, but
And Lobo
uh,
was there too.
and Lobo was there too. But they waited until the end. They got a lot of spiders. They got the whole Fantastic Four. They
Cap.
kept it thematic. We'll see. Last season I think they had a fair number of DC characters, but not this time. We'll see whether the strategy pays off. And that's so that's the East Southeast Asian delegation. The multiracial delegation, their picks include Wolverine, Barry Allen the Flash, Wonder Woman, Magic, Damian Wayne, Conan, John Stewart, Jane Foster Valkyrie, She-Hulk, Teen Lantern, Doom, and Quentin Quire. It's another strong pick, strong series of picks.
Strong team.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're the black delegation. Would you like to do the honors and run off your picks, Randy?
No, because I don't have them listed in front of me.
All right. Well, allow me. Uh, T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, with the first pick.
Mhm.
Krakoa with the second pick.
The side eye when he said it. Wow.
Dick Grayson, Kamala Khan, Emma Frost, Yara Flor, America Chavez, Professor X, the Black Knight Dane Whitman, Kate Bishop, X-23, and finally Black Adam. Yes, pretty strong team.
Strong.
Pretty strong team there. Polynesian delegation came to play this time out for sure, as they came with starting off.
I know their first pick is Thor and their second pick is
Yep.
Storm. I know
Exactly. Thor, followed by Storm, followed by
I'm
Iron
better.
Man, followed by Rogue, followed by Kang the Conqueror, followed by Monica Rambeau, followed
Wow.
by Ironheart, followed by Wiccan, followed by Hope Summers, followed by Legion, then followed by who did they draft in the last round?
that. Silver
Silver
Surfer.
Surfer.
No. Sorry, the round before. Sorry, the 11th round. My fault.
Wiccan? Do we say Wiccan?
No, sorry. Hulkling.
Hulkling.
Hulkling. So they completed the set.
They got their set.
And then of course Silver Surfer. That team, a lot of bonus points. A lot of bonus points for that team in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brings us to Latinx delegation. Would you like to do the honors, Carlos?
I think I know mine by heart. Hold on. Bruce Wayne, ever heard of him? Harley Quinn, Selena Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I think then we went Kendra Saunders, then
Oh,
Jason
Red Hood.
Todd.
Jason
It was
Todd.
Jason Todd first. Jason Todd, then Kendra Saunders, then Blade.
No, it was then Null.
Oh, Null. I forgot I had Null.
Then
Null,
Blade.
Blade.
Mm.
Null, Blade, Oliver Queen, Quanin, Kingpin,
Mhm.
Elektra, Deadpool.
Yep. That. I mean,
We gonna run this town tonight.
they're definitely the front runners, guys. If you've been following all along, they were front runners from the moment they drafted Bruce Wayne, but they're strong picks all around.
Honestly, it bugs me that we have anybody with superpowers on this team, but we couldn't deny it. Like we were like, Null. We have to take Null.
Right. It would have been funny if that was the only superpowered character you guys had, and everyone else was non-powered.
I really wonder how long we could have gone because no one was drafting villains. And so I wonder how long we could have gone without drafting Null. But just like on our board, he was so far and away, so much more potential than any other character out there. We're like, we have to.
You guys
take him
got
now.
a board?
We had a board. We definitely our draft process was intense. It really was.
And so Native American delegation was Echo, Vision, Deathlock, Danielle Moonstar, Red Wolf, Venom, John Grey Crow, Carnage, Cloak, Dagger. I cannot remember the 11th round pick. Was it another symbiote?
No.
Give me a second, guys.
Unknown.
Wasn't it Wasp?
No. Wasp was in.
It was in the poll.
In the
maybe?
final poll.
Yeah, sorry guys. Sorry listeners. I'm going to have to look this up. And you guys can vamp and talk about the picks before that.
Lex Luthor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor. Yes, Lex Luthor.
Again, ever heard of him?
Ever heard of him? and then finally Puck. So, ups and downs, but there's still some potential there. These characters.
Honestly, for all the crap that I was talking about them, I have been kind of picking fun at them because it's my little release for getting teased about Krakoa, but I mean they at least they're interesting characters. I will say that much. They are still characters who are who have that potential for like an interesting reimagining in terms of storytelling.
Right. And it's not like these are characters that won't show up at all.
Right.
Like
No.
the Crow,
I mean, the essence of Deathlock won't show up, but other than that,
Yeah.
I mean, like Carnage is going to kill, Venom is going to kill, like
And Cloak and
especially now that
Dagger,
we're
I think Cloak and Dagger have appearances that they're queued up for as well.
for
What if-
sure.
Wait, what if Venom is no longer Venom? Do they just get Eddie Brock?
They have Eddie Brock.
Yeah, they have Eddie Brock, exactly.
Right.
Got it.
So
Yeah,
yeah, if
because
Eddie Brock gets a power up, it's
Yeah, 'cause
still points for Eddie Brock.
He got he got wasn't he Captain Universe recently?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a glow up, in more ways than one.
I mean, based on what looks to be the cover of Venom 200, it looks like he may be the new King in Black. He may kill Null.
That's going to be an amazing week when the top scorer is a Native American delegation because of the 50 points that 50 points that Eddie Brock puts up.
Will he get bonus points for killing another team's character?
Yes, he will.
He's going to get bonus points for that. He's going to get bonus points for wielding the blade, which has a name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be
and character development.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough week for me.
And when every other book shows it happening, he's going to get all those.
There's just one panel in every book where they're like, "Look."
And the white delegation, I'm going to go ahead and read your picks off. I assume you don't have them handy.
I do, actually.
Oh, all right, go for it.
I'm the Ubermensch cis white male team is ready to go. I'll admit I don't know the order of the picks because I only made about half of these.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the Joker, Wally West, Darkhawk, Magneto, Colossus, the already whitest character in existence, Hal Jordan, Superman, Superboy, Spider-Man 2099, Cyborg, Miles Morales, and Luke Cage.
That is right. That is
bit of an attack.
Wrong. That is what it is. It's wrong.
There are some bangers on that team, honestly. Bangers.
As I look, I feel like I definitely attacked the black delegation a little bit too much.
I mean, fitting. And the Jewish delegation, I will go ahead and run down their picks.
A team of mystics. A lot of them.
Yes.
The Hulk, first round. Carol Danvers in second. Barbara Gordon in the third. Cyclops in the fourth. Mm-hmm. Black Widow, followed by Scarlet Witch, followed by Zatanna, followed by Sojourner Joe Malayan, followed by John Constantine, followed by Man-Thing, followed by, who was their 11th round pick? I believe it was, it was Longshot.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then finishing it out with Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the Jewish delegation, a lot of magic.
A lot of mutants. I didn't realize how many mutants they had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not that many mutants, though. I mean, because, the Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch thing, they're not technically mutants, There'll
always be mutants in my heart.
And Longshot's not a mutant?
Right. And, Man-Thing's got an event coming up. Constantine, I think, has got something big coming up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were strong throughout. Black Widow's book is still going, I believe.
Yeah, I mean they definitely had a good number of them that were like on my list of who I potentially would have wanted to get.
Yep.
So who is the team?
Wait, one more. Wait, let me do the South Asian delegation.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I was cutting them out.
Yeah, the South Asian delegation. Don't sleep on them. Seriously.
No, not
I mean,
at all.
I a couple picks in there that threw me, but overall the team is strong. Doctor Strange, Supergirl, Daredevil, Jean Grey, Iron Fist, Black Canary, Deathstroke, Black Cat, Polaris, Gambit, Huntress, and Cable.
And there's not a single one in there who's not in a title right now, or who doesn't have some future appearances.
Can we just say that they got Matt Murdock, not Daredevil, because I have Daredevil, because I have Elektra? Thank you.
That's sorry. Fair enough. I mean, he's still Daredevil.
Yeah,
He's a Matt Murdock.
Not my Daredevil.
But he's still in the Daredevil book, guys.
Yes.
And he was doing things in jail. He got turned into a devil by one of the symbiotes, and I guess that's points for you anyway as Null. But don't sleep on the South Asian delegation. Their
Nope.
first time in the game in there, and they came through with some big players.
I will say, like, it was baffling when they took
Supergirl before
Supergirl and
Superman.
Superman was on the board. Yeah.
Yes,
Right, right.
that was the big pick that threw me off.
But if you just like Supergirl more than Superman, I mean, Supergirl will score points when she's in a book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Supergirl does have a. Oh wait, no, the series isn't coming back for a little while, right?
Right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think.
It's finishing up, but I believe it's not going to be in the scoring period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, she had future state stuff, so I'm
Yeah,
not
she
sure
does.
where she goes from there.
Oh no, I meant the TV series. Sorry, I think the TV
Oh, yeah.
series doesn't launch until the spring.
Yeah.
So that's a little disappointing. But yeah, I think they're not going to not push her, especially now that they have the casting for the character in the movies. I think that she'll be a prominent player in the Superman books, and perhaps not a second round value, but characters like Jean Grey and Deathstroke and Black Cat, where they got Black Cat. There's I'm interested in seeing how everything shakes out scoring wise, because these are all players, these are all people who aren't going to put up zeros.
Right.
Exactly.
There is not a weak team in this season.
I know, I agree.
Yeah, and that is where I was going to go, and I forgot about the Southeast Asian team. Was I think we should all make a pick for who is going to be the lowest scoring team, because it's very easy to pick who we think is going to win when one team is sitting on the entire bat family because I didn't draft in the first couple rounds.
No. Here's what I want to do. I want to write this down. What I want to know from you guys, since you guys all represent different delegations, is I want you guys to predict which delegation will be the team that scores just above and just below you.
Oh.
Well, I'll start that right away.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I gotta write it down because I want to make sure that they're saved for posterity for later when it either works out or doesn't work out, because the trash talk is going to happen. I am going to try to create these rivalries based on what you said.
The rivalries where everyone hates my team. Yeah, I'm into that. That's fun.
So, Gordy, if you'd like to start.
No problem. I think the only team that is going to score ahead of me is the Latinx team. I know. Right. I feel like I am shooting for second place. So that means that I think all the other teams are going to score below me, but I will put all the eggs in the basket of the multiracial team, because they have a strong team, and I feel like I'm making a bold choice there.
There you have it. All right, Carlos, what you got?
If there's a team that scores more than my team, I think it'll be the multiracial team.
All right.
It's just Wonder Woman and Wolverine is rough. That's a rough look for me. But Batman and Harley Quinn is not.
Yeah, it's nothing. And who do you think is going to score just below you?
Just below. Let's see. Before we listed all these out, I might have gone with a different squad, but I do think it'll be the Southeast Asian. They have Captain America. They have the first.
Yes, pick, they do.
Yeah, you just listed off like their first 3 or 4 picks. I was like, whoa, holy cow!
Yeah, and they finished. I believe they finished second. Last year. Last season. So.
Yeah.
They, second and third, they're usually near the top. Although last season they had Batman. Which, if you think about it, finishing third with Batman maybe isn't as much of a win as you might think.
Randy and Carlos weren't here when I supposed it earlier, but I definitely said that I do not think you could win this without one of the Trinity.
I was here. I was
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time it happens, it's definitely going to be noteworthy. What about you, Randy? Who do you think is going to score just above and just below?
I think maybe the Jewish delegation might score just above me.
All right.
And just below me, I think maybe it's kind of hard to decide, honestly. Because I definitely I don't see myself coming in like first place or like second place, but hmm, I kind of have a tie between like maybe the Polynesian or maybe the Native American. I'm not quite sure.
I gotta be honest. Randy. I think the Polynesian delegation's gonna outscore you.
I mean, it's entirely possible because I mean, like they have some really great choices, and I'm not quite sure. Hmm.
I think there's going to be a lot of. I think in the 4, 5, 6 range, like characters are going to be like not characters, like delegations going to be within like 1 or 2 points of each other every week, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that like to see which characters kind of swing the tide.
So is the way we finish going to be reverse order for next season?
No. we will continue to have a lottery for the number 1 pick. We may do some different things when it comes to the rest of the draft order. But
my favorite ongoing joke was when you guys were doing the lottery and you had to keep reminding us that N was for the Native American delegation. I laughed like it was a new joke every single time.
But I'm hoping maybe not for season 3, but I guess we can talk about this on the show for the listeners who want to stay along with us for the ride. At some point, we're going full dynasty. Once we have like all the delegations solidified, we're gonna go dynasty format, and there's gonna be trades. I mean, trades are allowable now, guys. As far as as far as I'm concerned. So
Carlos, I've got a whole team that's right here. Whole team for Batman. All right,
trades are allowable now as long as your roster doesn't slip below 9 characters. But we're gonna, like I said, maybe not this next season, but in future seasons we're gonna consider going full dynasty. And like you guys said, there's so many characters on the board. I believe that we could still draft even while we were holding on to characters from previous seasons.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I've been kind of considering. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Native American delegation may score beneath me, possibly.
All right. I personally think the Native American is, as much as I think they've made some strong picks, they're definitely my choice to probably finish last. But not far at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I didn't really see like a team that was like, their teams are trash. Like, no, everybody did really good this season.
Right.
So it's kind of difficult for me to try to like, especially since I don't have like the list right in front of me or something like that of like the different solicits. So I think that's a fair shot that maybe I'll do better.
Yeah, I think I see the black delegation and the South Asian delegation kind of being neck and neck for a big chunk of the season.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
What do you think was the best pick by a team that wasn't yours?
You're saying in terms of like where the character was picked?
Right, yeah, like we all kind of knew who was going in the first 2 or 3 rounds.
Right.
Give or take a Supergirl and a Krakoa. But like other than that, like
always with the hate.
Hey, I wanted Krakoa so bad. But yeah, where was there one where it's like, man, I can't believe you got that pick?
Well, I would say that it caught me like so off guard that I didn't like that I like was kicking myself because I felt like I had missed out on Doom. I was like, wait, I forgot because we had him previous season. I was like,
Oh,
Doom?
Yeah.
And like we
yeah.
didn't get Doom and we didn't get Joker. Like that was dumb. Like we could have tried to get them earlier, but
Yeah,
I like,
it's between Doom and Shang-Chi.
Okay.
The fact that like the East Southeast Asian delegation was able to wait all the way till the 11th round.
I kept telling Gordy, you need to draft Shang-Chi and just name him like Sean Cheese.
There was a definite plan coming. For me, it was Lex Luthor. I
That's a good one.
just didn't consider. It's Lex Luthor and Eddie Brock Venom, both by the same Native American team. They drafted right near me, and both rounds I was looking at them and went, well, not that one.
Yeah, I thought there was a good chance that the black delegation was going to get Lex Luthor, which is why it threw me off that the native delegation got him. Once we got through the midpoint of the draft and I realized that no one had selected him, I was like, wow, everybody's sleeping on him. Like maybe.
I mean, it's kind of I don't know. I guess I was kind of like just in like hero mode. I don't usually look over in like the villain direction, and so I was thinking about like, okay, well, what other hero? And then as it like whittled down, I was like, well, dang, these heroes are not really showing up as much, but it still never crossed my mind to choose villains.
Right.
So,
yeah, one character. I mean, this is not exactly that answer, but one character that I totally expected you guys to draft in the black delegation based on a number of factors was Taskmaster. I was surprised that, given the fact that he has a solo book, given the fact that he's appearing in the Thunderbolts, given the fact that he's appearing in the Black Widow movie whenever that comes out,
the fact that he's the favorite character of one of our delegate members.
I would have figured, especially as we got to the later parts of the draft and nobody was talking about him. I was like, okay, this is the time, right? This is no, okay.
So for everybody else, who is the character that you're the most surprised was not drafted?
Oh wait, hold on. Because first of all, I still got to say, for me, that pick was the Native American delegation taking Carnage. Yeah. Carnage was like when we were like, oh my God, please just let us get Carnage. Let's get us Carnage, and it's like 6 appearances in 2 books, or like maybe more, is insane. Like, and for where they got him, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess because they got Carnage in season 1, I wasn't shocked by it.
Yeah.
Because last season Carnage was in such high demand because of the event, the Carnage event. Any symbiote felt like was in play this time out. So it wasn't.
I knew we were not going to get him as soon as I had a backstory in my head. I was like, no, that's it. We're not going to get him now.
Yeah. Randy, did you say what your favorite pick of the draft was in terms of draft position?
You said Doom, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Doom. You did say Doom. Yes.
It just totally flew by me, and I was like, I kind of was. I thought that I had maybe more time, but then I also was kind of like gunning more for heroes than villains. So it just perfect storm of me slipping by and missing it.
I had Doom and Hulkling. Go ahead, Gordy.
I would say the end of this draft definitely snuck up on me. I was like, oh, I got what? There's 2 more picks? I was not ready for that.
Yeah. I had Doom and Hulkling on my list, and then I was like, I'm going to sneak in. I'm going to get at least one of these guys. And then they announced both of them are in the Guardians of the Galaxy, like the week we drafted. And I was like, well, there goes that. I'm sitting here at the 5th pick, and there's no way. And Hulkling went the pick before me.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as characters that you were surprised were not picked, I guess I'll start with you, Randy.
Honestly, I can't really think of any off the top of my head, because I feel like basically everybody who I had on my list of who I wanted to get picked was I was crossing off a whole lot of people off my list. So, yeah, I don't really none really stood out too much to me other than the couple of the villains like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Carlos, you had a couple in mind, right?
Yeah, Apocalypse. But even more so than Apocalypse, like Sinister. Sinister shows up a lot in the
Yeah.
books. So surprised he didn't make an appearance. I guess it's a lot of X-Men because there just are so many.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said, for
but
me, it was Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know, those sort of just stood way out for me because they've got a show that's coming. Like,
yeah, but in terms of Apocalypse, that was like Sean actually weeks and weeks ago had mentioned that there was a huge problem of inconsistency in terms of the X-Men. Like you don't always know when they're going to show up.
Yep.
right.
And then on top of that, we had like after the events of X of Swords, he dipped out. So like that was
Right.
definitely out of the question. And
Yeah.
then in terms of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was also thinking about how they just recently had their mini, and it like just ended. And I forget when it ended, but it was like they had their fifth, it was like weeks ago. So
Right.
I'm not really sure when they'll show up again, but like you said, they're definitely due for another more appearances in the near future.
Well, they're part of the ongoing cast of the Captain America book,
Yeah,
and Winter Soldier pops up in the Black Widow book. But they're not lead characters. I agree with that. But I
Yeah.
figured that once we got to, down to the second half of the draft,
yeah,
that they'd have gotten scooped up somewhere.
yeah.
Trying to think.
Gordy, how about you? Who's the character that you?
I'm still really surprised that no one took Black Lightning. You know, he shows up in the Bat books. There's
Right.
the TV show, and also, I think there's a general fear of taking the racially charged characters by some of the teams.
No one's more racially charged than Black Lightning.
Except maybe Static.
I mean, honestly, I don't know why he never crossed my radar. Like I actually had Katana on my list because of her appearances in the comics. I'm not sure why Black Lightning would never occurred to me, but I guess it was like the hesitance of like again the inconsistency that they have with black characters.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess if the Outsiders book was still going,
right.
That would have.
And I'm like, DC really, really sucks with their black characters. Like they'll have appearances.
They do.
No, but I hate to say it because it's like I like DC, I do, but they will let their characters show up for like a really good issue or like a really good arc, and then you have no idea when the heck they're gonna show up ever again.
Right.
Like it'll be years or like months and years between their appearances. And then, like, basically, if you are a fan of a black DC character whose name is not John Stewart or Victor Stone, you are like hungry for weeks and months at a time.
Oh, that reminds me. Now that you mentioned it, I was shocked, legitimately shocked, that you guys didn't draft Michael Holt, Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, again,
that's your guy. Like. I know you guys are all fans of the character.
I told my fellow delegates, I was like, okay, look, here's the 5 that I kind of, my cynical 5 black people that I kind of believe have likelihood of showing up, and anybody else. And then after a while, we still were thinking like, okay, well, we don't want to be just protecting black characters. Because it's very easy to kind of instinctually be like, oh yeah, we see Michael Holt, and we're just gonna like grab onto him, and we're gonna get Black Panther, we're gonna get whoever. But after a while, you start to kind of hurt a little bit because you're like, well, dang, Nubia actually does have some appearances.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can we?
You guys left Nubia on the board when she's got a book coming, and you left Miss Terrific on the board when he's like. Co-starring in a book.
Right. Yeah. And it did kind of hurt because it's like it's sort of you want to be strategic, but you also.
I think we lost Randy for a sec.
Started speaking too much truth.
Right.
DC cut him out.
I mean, then this is, obviously 12 rounds means you have to make some tough choices. I
Yeah.
think that when we eventually either expand to more rounds or, switch to dynasty format, I think that the long-term thinking about like which characters you really, really want to make sure like are part of the delegation, beyond just the next 2 to 3 months.
Right.
I think that the strategy shifts a lot more.
Yeah.
We should call that the Batman Memorial Dynasty League and just take him off the board.
Yeah. Yeah, like whatever way we decide who gets that first pick. Like,
Well, that's what I mean. That was the strategy for us coming in. We had the 5th pick in every round, and so we were like, we're not going to get a top 4 pick in any round. So let's our strategy initially was to come in every week and drop a poll, and then when that was clearly shot down by week 2 because we blew up the entire draft with our first poll, we said, okay, well at least we got this first poll in and we got Batman out of it. I mean,
yeah.
we came through. We're like, okay, we need to get ourselves a top 4 pick, but we have the 5th pick. So we were like, all right, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man. We're getting one of them.
Right.
And none of you are getting the rest of them in this round.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've talked about this before. In the poll strategy is going to change in future drafts, because what will happen is that any character that you put in the poll you won't be able to draft them outright in subsequent rounds. So you'll have to decide, like, you're really rolling the dice at that point. You're going to either get who you get and lose who you don't get. And then that other delegations will know that they can draft that character outright because you can't.
Hey, Chadwick Boseman won Best Actor at the Golden Globes.
Nice. Oh, that was the Golden Globes for tonight.
Deservedly so.
I'm sorry that I spoiled that if anyone cared. I'm sorry about that.
I mean, by the time they're listening to this podcast, they'll
I meant you guys. Yeah. Screw the listeners.
But I guess we should probably wind it down. Obviously in our post-credit scene, as we call it, we'll talk a little bit of WandaVision if you want to hang out and get our like last little bit of discussion before we watch the WandaVision season finale. But does anyone have any final thoughts, final trash talk going to the scoring session of the racial draft?
I have no trash talk. I've talked so much trash. I really think everyone's team is really good, and I'm really scared that I'm not going to win now because I've talked so much shit.
Well, I mean, unless somehow someone comes up with a storyline where Batman gets canceled. Oh, that actually did surprise me that no one drafted Jace Fox, the Black Batman, because it looks like he's still.
I am highly skeptical of DC's trajectory for that character. Highly skeptical.
Same.
Oh, long term for sure, but right now, like, he's got a book.
I stand by what Randy said. I was very scared that book was going to be a lot of headlines without a lot of substance.
Yeah.
Well, I may put together a team of undrafted characters just to see whether my team of undrafted characters outscores any of your team of drafted characters, just to see.
Do we get to be the editor on your backstories then? Because I'm in for this.
Oh no! I mean, this is just for my own purpose of seeing.
This is not a racial draft. It's a I don't see color delegation.
Exactly.
There you go. The United Colors of Benetton.
It's the all races matter team.
There should definitely be like multipliers if you get an entire team, or if you match up a famous pair, or whatever in your like if you get
So what you're saying is you want to multiply the East and Southeast Asian delegations point winning.
dude, it is. I mean, it is sincerely like incredible that they got the entire Fantastic Four. Like
they got the Fantastic Four, and then the Southeast delegation, I think it was. Well, the Native American delegation got the Cloak and Dagger, I think it was.
Yeah, they got Cloak. They got Cloak and Dagger. Yeah.
There's Wicked and Hulkling. There's
Yeah.
The Jewish
Wanda and
delegation with
Pietro.
the Mask Moth. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You got Soups and Jonathan.
Both
Mhm.
Superboy and Superman. I'm excited. I'll be making trade offers for Supergirl, but I feel like they may like her a little bit too much.
Right.
Yeah, they like her a lot.
Did you Randy, Black Delegation, did you guys get any like pairs or?
I don't think so.
I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, I don't think we did. Oh no! Actually, we got America Chavez and Hawkeye. So did that count?
I mean, they're not in a book together. I mean, they're best friends, but there's no title that is gonna have them.
I think that's about as close as I got.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't.
You got
think of
Batman
any.
and Catwoman. I guess that.
I mean, they have a book, Batman and Catwoman.
Oh, they sure do. They sure do have a
Yeah.
book. Batman has a book with everyone. I think
That's
I've got a book
right.
with Batman.
That's true. Batman has a Fortnite book that's coming out. I didn't talk about it in the news thing, but I saw it over the week, and I was like,
I mean, look for Batman and Carlos, starring me and Batman.
yeah, Batman, King of Collabos.
Yeah. It's like Lil Wayne, circa 2008.
Right. The prep time.
I just
Prep
thought-
time to mixtape.
I just thought of Swiss Beats as Batman, and I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, so real quick, so you guys all have characters that are in both universes, right? Marvel and DC.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So if you could team up one of your Marvel characters with one of your DC characters, A, which universe would you have them team up in? And B, which two characters would you team up? I guess I'll start with you, Randy.
I would actually very much like to have seen Batman sort of be like.
No, your characters. Your.
No, I know.
Okay.
I would very much like to see Batman be kind of like out prep timed by Black Panther.
Okay.
I would like to see that very much. Like he has some kind of journey that takes him to Wakanda, and then it's like, who do you think you are? You kind of you're trying to be the kind of serious, brooding boss dog, and it's like, yeah, no, Wakanda's not happy.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question. Which two of which two of your characters would you team up in what universe?
Wait, hold up. You saying two of my characters?
Of
or
your
my
characters.
with
Two
someone else?
of your characters.
Oh, sorry.
One Marvel and one DC, and which universe? I thought you were gonna say like Dick Grayson is what I was.
Right. But I was thinking that you were saying like one of my characters was somebody else's character. But
No. One of your Marvel characters and one of your DC characters.
Well, in that case, yeah, of course, Black Panther goes to Bloodhaven. Sure.
and he's teaming up with Dick Grayson, or he's doing the classic fight and then become friends.
Or are they dreaming of each other with pink hair?
No, but I mean, I don't think that their confrontation would be like the same as Black Panther meeting Batman. I think that they would be kind of like maybe suspicious of one another, but then it would be kind of like, sort of a distant respect that kind of allowed them to work together with one another.
Gotcha. I mean, for me, your delegation, it would be America Chavez and Yara Flor.
Yeah.
I would pay for that team up in a heartbeat. So, but that's just me, and I would probably put it in the DC universe, just because, like, seeing America Chavez react to the DC characters would be more funny than seeing Yara Flor react to the Marvel characters, because she might just be like, why should I go back to DC? This place is awesome.
And I think Kate Bishop and Dick Grayson would be a great.
Oh yeah,
I'd
I
like to see that.
that would be really cool. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, good call.
Out of the Black Delegation, I'd like to see Krakoa and
Koa and Black Adam.
Yeah, exactly right.
like Black Adam leads the armies of Kandak to go like do battle with Krakoa. Okay.
What about you? What about you, Gordy?
I would take Superman and Magneto and
Ooh.
put them in the Marvel universe because it is the universe that's more like our real universe. And basically have them have one of those real smug, high-end comic conversations about their role in the world.
They would almost be. It would be kind of like a Magneto Charles conversation where one is like super, optimistic about humanity, and the other one is super pessimistic about humanity. I could see.
Yeah,
it.
but Soups doesn't have any weird "I want to bone my students in the closet" like Charles does.
Well, right.
So,
that is important.
It would be
that part is
Magneto.
retconned out of my Charles Xavier's backstory, just so y'all know.
That's good.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the conversation between Magneto and his philosophy versus Superman and his, unending belief in people would make a very interesting book.
Yeah,
I like that.
Or also Cyborg and Miles Morales, so they can both say "booyah" and be fun.
I was gonna say Superman and Luke Cage would be interesting. Obviously, if I remember correctly, your Luke Cage is still comes from like the streets, right? Just comes from like the white streets,
There will 100% be a backstory of Luke Cage. We're just sort of we missed the open window, so now we're just gonna wait a little bit until there's a little lull around here, and then we'll drop the backstory on Luke Cage.
Gordy, are you still going with the backstory that we talked about?
Yes, 100%. I just life has gotten in the way, and I haven't had a chance to write it in the last couple of weeks.
Where we created a new Marvel agency?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned, listeners, for that one. What about you, Carlos?
Okay, I've got two. Batman
and who?
Batman and Elektra. Batman and Elektra, I
Interesting.
think would be an interesting team up. Actually, kind of similar to Daredevil and Elektra, but I think that Batman doesn't kill. Elektra very comfortable with killing, and also just two street level heroes or anti-heroes, but also Deadpool and Harley Quinn, right?
Ooh, I forgot you got both of them.
You gotta go there.
That is pure money.
Yeah. We just be printing. Yeah, and I would put them. Let's see. I would put Batman and Elektra in the Marvel universe. Let Batman fight crime in New York because he is not doing anything for Gotham. It's not working. Gotham is worse. And then let's let Deadpool and Harley Quinn just go on a Bonnie and Clyde style romp through the DC universe.
Yeah, that could be really fun, honestly. Deadpool shows up and he's just like breaking the fourth wall on all these DC characters.
Yes, yeah.
Said Deadpool and Harley to Valiant and let them play somewhere where they haven't been before.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And on that the note that Gordy brought up, it actually reminded me of like my Charles Xavier meeting Black Adam. I would be interested to see that because that kind of, again, that duality of like, do we want to coexist or do we want to have dominancy? I think it's really an interesting idea, especially considering both of them, like they're almost like stark exact opposites. Charles Xavier, my version of Charles Xavier is like the rich person who kind of abased himself to be with the common people, while Black Adam is like this man who started off in bondage and he became a king. So they would be like starkly opposed to one another and have a drastically different view of how society progressed.
Yeah.
I like
I
that.
mean, I could also see. I mean, we talked about this a little earlier. Black Panther and Black Adam.
Yeah,
Two kings, with also different worldviews, and
yeah,
also, um, you know, coming at it from different places as far as keeping their people safe.
yeah,
Both having to learn to abandon a bit of their heavy right wing viewpoint.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I guess if I was going to do it, I would have Black Adam in Wakanda,
hmm Yeah,
especially being a Hotep in your way of thinking. He would just be
yeah,
like, "Oh my God, it's possible."
yeah. I mean, yeah, because basically he is sort of striving some almost what Black Panther already has. Like they're
Exactly.
extremely technologically advanced, but then also are deeply rooted in their spirituality and having like their you know their king is literally like in touch with the God they serve. So like I think that would be a dynamic conversation between them. Yeah.
Right. And then he would just be shocked that, with Wakanda having all that it has, that he would deign to venture out and
Yeah.
protect the rest of the world. He would just be
Rather than conquer them.
right,
Rather than conquer them. Yeah.
you know, for sure. But I guess we should, end it there with if any artists out there, if you want to illustrate some of these Marvel DC pairings or face-offs, as it were, within these delegations, let us know and we'll signal boost you all. But listen, it's been a great round of drafting. Yeah, obviously we had a little hiccups along the way with the auto drafts and the like. But I think that when it was all said and done, season two was an improvement upon season one, which is what we're looking for. Everything gets a little bit better. I'm looking forward to seeing how the scoring shakes out and how the rivalries, kind of build out. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If, like I always say, if this is your first episode, we apologize, but we hope you're still going to be here for the ride. And we hope that we gave you a little bit to think about and a little bit to talk about. We're always here. Everyone drop your socials if you like. Um, Carlos?
I'm at Carlos Freites Jr. on Twitter. That's a lot to spell, so enjoy.
Gordy?
Oh man, I always have to read off the numbers of mine because this is a new Twitter. Because I was scared I was gonna get attacked by taking Luke Cage. I was like, oh shit, I'm just gonna get yelled at all the time.
Please call him White Power Man.
I am at Gordy924-19552, which is even too many phone numbers for too many numbers for a phone number.
It is
Nice.
perfect for the delegate from the white delegation
Well,
to be a
you
name
remember,
with several numbers after it.
it's you got to dial 9. You got to dial 9 to dial out, right? So
There we go. That makes it work.
and
I'm gonna have to figure out where that area code lands me and start repping that as the basis of the Ubermensch all white team.
and Randy?
Yeah, I'm Randy S0725, and you will know that you reached me by me having some outlandishly half nerdy, half black screen name on Twitter. Yeah.
And you can find me at MTFIII, or you can find the Racial Draft Podcast at Racial Draft Pod on Twitter. You can also find us at racial.draft on Instagram, or Racial Draft on Facebook. Hit us up there as well. And, you can also find us at Patreon/Racial Draft. We're here. If you want to give us money, we'll always take it. But if you want to give us ideas, we'll take those too. But until next time, guys. All things are possible.
Let's score some points.